Happy Tuesday. What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. That's Dean 78904 if you want to get all technical. Tasteful Tides. Tim is here, too. I don't know what happened there. He kind of stuck out for a second, but he popped back on. It is the People's Show, of course, as it's been the standard on Tuesdays. 10 game. Slate tonight for baseball. Should be pretty clean as far as weather as well. I'll go ahead and drop that link in chat for the people. 2 hours of nonstop MLB DFS conversation starts now. Actually, first pitch is 7:20, which is kind of funky. A 7:20 first pitch. I'm not sure if crunch time is going to last all the way up to 7:20. Maybe if we have more time to spend with crunch time today, the bridge will be a little bit longer. But yeah, we're certainly a late first pitch today for a 10-gamer. Tim, welcome. 10-game baseball slate. We ready? Ready to do it?
Definitely ready to do it. Yeah, definitely kind of an odd lock time 7:20. I didn't even notice that. I figured it was the standard 7:05, but yeah, 7:20. Perfect amount of games in my opinion. I love like 8 to 10 game slates, and we've got tons of different ways we can build teams. So I think this is a really, really strong slate.
I think we were going to have the Dodgers and the Mets start at 7:10, but because they had to play a doubleheader today, yesterday's game got washed out. They dropped the second game because you never really know if the first game's going to go long, and all of a sudden it's all sorts of wonkiness when it comes to the time getting pushed back. So the sites make the right call in that, just kicking it off the slate. Yeah, that was the only game that's in that sort of area, 7:10. There are some 640s and 650s, but those are not on the main slate. Bobby Gomes, former $1 million winner. How are things in your world? Things all good?
Going well. Yeah, looks like we're going to have a pretty good slate here tonight, I'd say. Just really strong pitching slate, condensed with the bats. You can build a bunch of different ways, so excited to get into it and talk about it.
Yeah, not the strongest of pitchers, but some things that are worth noting. We were talking about pre-show the possibility of Drew Pomeranz throwing baseballs today, which he hasn't done in, 3 years or so. Spencer Howard was supposed to be the long man for San Fran. Far as I can tell, he's not been called up just yet. Spencer Howard, once upon a time, like an uber prospect, just really flamed out, and he's still fairly young, 27 probably, give or take. They've announced Eric Miller as the opener. He's just the guy that's going to go out there and throw the first inning essentially against Schwarber and Harper, do the left-on-left stuff. As of right now, and again, as far as I can tell, they've not made a move. It's a later game, so I suppose they still can. But the one that seems most likely to throw baseballs that I can tell is Drew Pomeranz. We're not rostering Drew Pomeranz. I don't know if he can. And maybe Howard again. Maybe he jumps in there. The other thing is Texas made some moves. They shuffled their starter. It's now Nate Eovaldi, not Dane Dunning, throwing baseballs for the Rangers. We have a Coors game as well. Weather-wise, I just went ahead and dropped the weather in chat. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, of course, will be on in about an hour and 10 minutes, give you guys more clarity if anything pops up. The diciest game is not the slate. That's the Detroit game, currently orange. We don't really care about that for our purposes. Looks like a potential late start and play in Chicago. That's for the White Sox against Toronto. That was another game where we lost a starting pitcher. Clevenger got kicked out for Jake Woodford. And I was like, oh, that's a bummer. I really want to pick on Clevenger. And then I look at Jake Woodford's numbers, and I'm like, oh, this is still pretty good. This looks like a lot of fun. Woodford is not pitching the majors this year, but good Lord, was he horrendous last season. So I think it still wheels up on the Blue Jays, assuming we get the all clear when it comes to weather. And again, most likely what we're seeing right now is possibly a late start and a play for Chicago and Toronto. What's up, chat? Chat, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all those things to keep us going. Win yourself RotoGrinders Premium today. The Tournament Tuesday contest has already been posted in Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. Jump in the live stream chat channel if you happen to take down the tournament. I believe it's a $5 tournament today. Standard $5 tournament, regular prices apply. But in addition to that, you get yourself a week free of RG Premium if you happen to take it down. That's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, anything you can think of, all the sports with the exception of NASCAR. All the contents, Lineup HQ, you get the SimLabs stuff, all the goods. Too many bells, too many whistles to mention. And you get 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks free if you take it down while rocking the RotoGrinders avatar, which I think all three of us have now officially we're all rocking the RG avatar these days, right? I believe so. I think so. There you go.
That is correct. That is correct, Dean. Yeah.
we are company men for sure. So yeah, Devin in chat. Devin already posted that. If you're having trouble finding it, it's not very difficult. RotoGrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat, and we are good to go. My apologies if you guys hear some. It's kind of raining on and off here. Hopefully, it's not. It's just sort of stopped as I said that. So I'm guessing you guys did not can't hear it now. John in chat is saying
you sound fine, Dean.
Good. Thank you. John was asking about Eovaldi. Yeah, no rehab for Eovaldi, which is kind of weird. So I think we're projecting like 50 or 60 pitches or so. Not a lot. He might have done some work on the side. I'm not really sure, but I would imagine he's a veteran, obviously, but I would imagine he's not going to be like full throttle as far as the pitch count. And probably, I don't even know what the asking price is, but we're not considering him, right? We're currently giving him 60 pitches for what it's worth. So
60 pitches for 8,600. I would say definitely no chance.
Yeah, Bobby mentioned this is a good slate for pitching. It really is. There's a lot of good pitchers out there, a lot of good names out there, some tough matchups. But Zach Wheeler, Freddie Peralta, Kevin Gausman, Cole Reagans, who's been phenomenal, in some spots. Cortez versus the Angels, Luis Castillo, tough matchup versus Houston, but if he can just get past, the big boy lefties, I think he's got a shot. Max Fried, who I feel like he's had like 3 different no-hitters going into the 6th or 7th inning this year. Of course, not the best K pitcher, but he's a guy that can go 6 or 7. And the cheapies, I think, are pretty clearly Hunter Brown and Waldron, the knuckleballer. I shouldn't really call him a knuckleballer. He is a knuckleballer, but he's only throwing it like 35% of the time. So he does mix and match. He's got a versatile arsenal. Give me the screenshot here, Tim, as far as today's slates. I think the offenses are pretty clear. Doing my rankings as far as my favorite offenses today, and we'll talk about stacks later. I think there's a pretty clear 4 or 5 team, and then kind of a break from there. We'll have that conversation. And, a lot of good arms as well. Is that the way you're seeing it?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely so many good pitchers on this slate. There's so many different ways that you could go about it. It's like I feel like there's maybe 6 guys that are like could easily be the top raw point pitchers on the entire slate, possibly even 7. So I mean, that's quite a bit for a 10-game slate. Then we got kind of like the whole Kevin Gausman situation, which is, I think, pretty interesting because I expect him to be easily the heaviest owned pitcher on the slate at 8,500. He's looked good since April's over now, and since his last couple starts, he's looked very, very strong. So he's going to be very popular. I mean, we have some like kind of like questionable chalk, but I mean, it's an absolutely loaded pitching slate. So I don't think you necessarily have to play pitcher chalk today.
Interesting you say questionable chalk. Maybe I got to do a refresh, but I'm seeing Gausman as the number 1 pitcher on DK. In part, I think mostly because you get a discount, right? He's 8.5, and he's facing the White Sox, right. And the combination of those two. I know he's had like a rough season by his standards, but I still trust. I think he's going to be fine, and probably the White Sox aren't going to get to him. You got to pay more, but Peralta's the next guy at 27%, Fried at 22, Wheeler at 20. I guess if there's questionable chalk you're alluding to, it's probably if you want to save some salary at SB2 with Hunter Brown and Waldron. And I don't know, what we call them that chalk? They're kind of in the teens. I don't want to put. Is that what you're alluding to or no?
Yeah, I was actually alluding to Gausman actually, and I was alluding to Gausman and Hunter Brown. And Freddie Peralta. Those are the 3 guys. I'm not saying they're bad plays. I'm just saying I think that there's interesting pivots around those guys that I think are going to be significantly lower owned. And then we got somebody like Cole Reagans, who is projected not very good really at all, and he's going to be like 13% owned versus guys like Peralta, who's going to be 30%. And Zach Wheeler, who's going to be 20%. So, and then so there's a lot of pivots today at pitching, I think, that are very, very interesting. Like Gausman's obviously the safest, and I'm not going to dispute that. I just a little bit. I think he's going to get super steamed, so I'm just a little bit concerned about rostering him in like a large field GPP. Like if you're playing catch games, yeah, play Gausman, that's fine, but large field, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to be overweight him.
I want Bobby to jump in here, but I want to say my favorite tournament pitcher. I want to make sure I get it in because Minnesota is like an analytically driven team, right? They're very big on their splits. It's very strange. They don't realize that Cole Reagans is a reverse splits pitcher. So if you look at Reagans on the season, 21% Ks versus lefties, left on left, 21%, 31.5% left versus right. And how many righties does Minnesota roll out against them? 9 righties. And how many strikeouts did he get against this Minnesota team last time he faced them? 9. I don't get it. It's very odd to me. I love Reagan's. Like, just if he's not going to be owned, and like he's going to be what, 10% or so, 15%.
He's gonna be lower than Peralta, Wheeler. Currently, we have him lower than Castillo. So I mean, he's gonna get pretty squeezed. I think we have Max Fried significantly higher. So I mean, there's a couple guys. I mean, I think Jesus Luzardo at 8K is very, very interesting in GPPs. And usually I'm not one to like really branch out in single entry, but there's a case to be made to, the pitching is so deep that, eating super chalk on this slate, I don't think is necessary.
I like Luzardo fine. My issue is this Padre team does not strike out. 16.4%, gutless, sure, but they will ground out, they will pop out, they will fly out. They don't strike out. 16.4%. Like Luzardo's a fine pitcher. It doesn't feel that necessary, but I hear you. I like him as a pivot, sure, but I just don't know what the upside is. Bobby, I want to bring you in. Reagan's, if you guys can't tell, is probably my number one pitcher for tournaments, probably like single entry tournament as well. And those numbers get squeezed. So he's going to be in single digits, I think, in like single entry contest. And I'm excited about that. Bobby, your thoughts as far as the landscape of this slate, and we'll kind of get your thoughts as far as pitching as an overview as well.
So I want to make the other argument with pitching being this deep. Do you think that Gausman gets as chalky as he possibly should be? I know we have him for 35%, but I don't know. I feel like he's just in a really good spot. For me, it would be more trying to get away from like Hunter Brown chalk. Is that what we're showing currently? Like
20%, give or take. Let me give it a refresh. I'm sure it's going to change. I also think there's something we can't quantify right now, Bobby, is that we're probably maybe going to see a delay with Toronto versus Chicago, and how many people get scared off by that. And Roth is telling us right now that's probably what's going to happen, and they're probably going to play after it. So I don't know if you saw somebody the other day. There's always the conspiracy. Somebody was telling Roth, like, oh yeah, you scared everybody off the chalk pitcher. Like Roth was like controlling the world with these things. It was a pretty fun conversation I found him in, and I feel bad for him. But I can't remember. Joe Ryan. Apparently Roth got everybody off Joe Ryan because he made up the idea that there was a chance there would be some rain.
Roth did it to help his own teams. His own teams he was trying to help.
He didn't tell me. He didn't secretly say, just so you know, I made up the whole Joe Ryan thing. He didn't tell me that. I believed him. I thought that was a real possibility. Is there a secret chat I'm not aware of?
Apparently. So for me, I think the pivots are on the low range, like getting away from Brown to Waldron, I think is interesting. Waldron's still going to be relatively owned. I think Waldron will probably be chalkier than Brown when it's all said and done, to be perfectly honest. So maybe that's not a pivot. I just think Waldron's in a better place, in a better ballpark in San Diego versus Miami, who we all know isn't the greatest team in terms of hitting. So don't mind Waldron as like a pivot off of Brown. I guess you could make off of Hunter Brown. I'm talking about, not Ben Brown. Brown versus Milwaukee, like we have him for 80 pitches. He went over his pitch limit versus Atlanta, pitched pretty well. He's not someone I'm considering, but if we knew he was going to go longer, I'd probably have some more interest. Outside of that, like Tristan McKenzie, people can make a case in large field tournaments versus Colorado. For me, it's going to be mainly Waldron, but the more I think about it, like if Hunter Brown if everyone is having the same thought process, maybe Waldron ends up being chalky. The Gausman thing, I just want to pitch Gausman. Like I think Gausman's in a really good spot. I guess you could pivot to PFOT, or you could pivot to Max Fried at 8.8. I just worry about Max Fried's ceiling. The interesting thing, I think, is getting up to, like you said, Cole Reagans versus Minnesota, where he's striking out righties at a much higher clip, and they throw out righties at him. Like you said, the analytics, they should have been on that, I feel like, more. And also, people aren't going to pitch Wheeler at 11K, but Wheeler versus San Fran in a pitcher's ballpark, like, it just doesn't make sense in terms of how, like, Wheeler's going to be the low-owned guy if you kind of flip the build, because
we
this
got him at
8K
20%. Not to cut you off, we got Wheeler at 20, so he's the fourth most popular pitcher.
I don't think he gets to 20%. You could be right.
I'm just telling you what it says. I'm not sure either. I think it's close.
It just seems like the 8K range is going to suck up so much ownership. Like, people are going to pitch Luzardo. They'll pitch Gosman. They'll pitch Fried. P-Fod will be in the mix. And then Hunter Brown and Waldron on the low end, I think, will be the main pitchers for a lot of people. And then guys like Peralta and Wheeler will get lost in translation because people will just go to Cole Reagans at 10-2 and want to save the 800. So, yeah, that's how I think.
Kirkwood in chat's telling us it's Tortellini Tuesday. I don't know if that changes things for you. And then I get Stevie on the morning grind. Shout out to him. He pronounced Brandon Pfaudt's name correctly for the first time in 4 years. So shout out to Stevie. I just like to have a little bit of fun with Stevie. All right. I know I poked the bear. It's probably a bad idea just messing around with him. All right. I'm sorry. Did I cut you off? I apologize, Bobby, if I did.
No, you're good. We pretty much went over kind of how I'm looking at pitching, so we're good.
We have a couple extreme hitters umpires, by the way. I wish that wasn't for Reagans, but that's the case. Cole Reagans is an extreme hitters umpire. Brandon Pfaadt as well. Woods Richardson and Eovaldi. Nobody has Angel Hernandez. Our long national nightmare is over. They fixed it. Forget it. We don't need we don't need robo umps anymore. They fired Angel Hernandez, so it's over.
We're never going to have robo umps after that Harper ejection, I'd say, the other night. Did you see that?
Yes, that was so terrible. Like it
was bad. That was bad.
Just embarrassing. And it wasn't even like he was like whatever he said. He was just kind of saying it to him, and the crowd couldn't tell what he was saying. He wasn't like overly animated. Harper's had some ejections he's kind of earned over the years. That wasn't one of them. That definitely was not one of them. And was that a Monster or a Red Bull? What was that, Bobby?
Red Bull.
You're a Red Bull guy?
Yeah, big Red Bull guy. What's wrong with Red Bull?
What flavor, Bobby?
Blue. I think it was a blue can. Threw me off.
Juneberry. I like the coconut one, but they didn't have it today. I drank them out of it over the last week playing MLB DFS.
Okay. Did you get them like in bulk? Like you can get a discount if you buy like 6 or 12, or you buy like one at a time at the 11.
7-Eleven, just one at a time, Dean.
I think the chalk for Red Bull is the original, right? I think I'm not a big Red Bull guy. It's fine, I suppose. If I like the Monster Silver one. I don't know what it's called. Tim, you a Monster guy? Are you a Red Bull guy or any of this sort?
None of the above, Dean. Yeah, definitely not.
You just like your coffee. You drink your coffee, and that's that. I think you're a coffee guy.
That's that. Yeah, I'm a big coffee guy.
For some reason, Bobby's saying he's in a better place for a pitcher had me cracking up. There you go. All you got to factor everything is for sure. Are you guys sad that we're losing Angel Hernandez? Are you going to be okay with it? Everybody okay? You all right?
What are we going to talk about now? I mean, there was a big.
What are you going to complain about on Twitter?
The calls are still going to be terrible. Spoiler alert! Like he isn't. Like he was. Incrementally it's better, but still it's bad. They're still going to be screwing stuff up for sure. But there you go. I said that like all the umpires should intentionally if it's a strike, call it a ball. If it's a ball, call it a strike. It's like a shout out, an homage. To Angel. The very first pitch of the game, every single game today, missed the first call as like an homage to Angel Hernandez. Okay.
How do you think he retired? Do you think he was just like he discovered Twitter and was like, wow?
No. They finally paid him enough money to go away. It's what happened. Although you could make the argument like any conversation is good conversation, even like when people are sitting there trashing saying They're talking about us. Hey, they're saying your sport is a disaster, but they're talking about us. So like that's kind of good, right? Any publicity is good publicity. So it's a strange thing. The poll in chat: are you happy Angel Hernandez retired? Yes, or no. Is I think the yes votes might get split. Is the problem there? But yeah, is it a bad thing, Tim, that we lost him? Because it used to like have baseball trending, and like baseball is well behind other sports on Twitter. So you could make the argument he was kind of good for baseball in a weird sense.
I thought he was very entertaining to watch because he knew something bad was going to happen every single game. So I loved it. So I'm definitely going to miss him.
I think I am going to miss him too. I already miss him. It's unfortunate.
I mean, I don't know what you're going to talk about on Twitter now, Dean. I really don't. I thought Bobby.
I don't know
made a
either.
great point.
Alex says negotiate a better pension. Yeah, I mean, I think they paid him to go away, but who knows? He's also in his 60s, and I assume he's doing. I'll tell you the strangest thing. He wrote like a note, right? And so like maybe it was through his lawyer or something like that. And he said he fulfilled his childhood dream of becoming an umpire in Major League Baseball. No kid in the history of the world. What do you want to be when you grow up? A fireman? I want to be a football player. I want to be an umpire. Never happened. That's never happened. I refuse to. First, if anything, he wanted to be a baseball player. He wanted to be a first baseman or a pitcher. And then he's like, screw it. I guess I stink athletically. I'll just be the guy that makes the calls and strikes. I'll call balls and strikes. But there's no way that's true, right? Bobby, there's no way his childhood dream was to be an umpire. I refuse to believe that.
I refuse to believe it too. But then you said in chat the other day that your childhood dream was to host a RotoGrinders show. So
I had a premonition.
Yeah, you had a premonition.
Do you want to know one of my childhood dreams? I wanted to be in the audience for an infomercial. I've never fulfilled that, but I guess there's still time. They don't really have infomercials anymore, though. But I used to love watching infomercials as a kid over like cartoons. So I was a weird child, Bobby.
Apparently.
Any event. Yeah, I used to. I don't know why I enjoyed them, but I found them entertaining. Bobby, any bold stance? What are you doing? 10 lineups today? 20 lineups? So what are we rolling now?
10 lineups currently, Dean. Yeah, gonna play the 10.
Is there a potential lock button situation? You sound pretty good about Gausman.
I like Gausman. Like if I don't think his ownership is going to get up as high as we currently believe it will be, according to our like in the higher dollar stuff. I don't think he's going to get to 60-70%. So I don't mind pitching him. There's too many other options, so I can pitch some Gausman.
Alex says oldest child thing will be an umpire. Oldest kids are bossy micromanagers. Yeah, I wonder if he has a. Yeah, we should find out if he has any siblings. That would make sense, I guess. Maybe he's like the oldest of like 7 or something like that. Maybe that'll check out. I don't know. Tim, what else do we have as far
Derek's comment. Read Derek's comment, Dean.
I'm
very curious about this.
Oh my gosh. Geez. I got a power rank infomercial products. Like that's not really a thing. Remember what was the guy's Swift? There's Billy Mays, of course, RAP. There was Phil Swift, the guy who had like a lisp. He sold some sort of like product that like maybe got like the dents out of your car or something like that. One of my favorite infomercials. Did you ever see it wasn't an infomercial, I think it was like a 30-second commercial. But did you ever see that weird device you put in your ear to like replace Q-tips? And they show like a person like using a Q-tip and they're like, ow, like that's that like it's that painful. And it's like this product relieves you of that pain. This is for another show.
Vince Offer with ShamWow.
Oh, ShamWow. Yeah, he had some issues off the field. Yeah.
You knew watching those ShamWow commercials, he had some issues off the field.
There's definitely something. Yeah. I mean,
there's something really. I remember as a kid, like knowing there was something really shady about that guy.
Of course, the number one as far as host was Ron Popeil. I see. Yeah, there you go. Vince Offer. Mr. Gerg saying set it and forget it. Of course, that was the rotisserie chicken. Yeah, I wanted to be the guy he would say set it and the whole crowd would go and forget it. I wanted to be in the crowd and say and forget it. That was my goal. And I yet to fulfill that, unfortunately. And I don't think they're filming anytime soon. The Floby, I believe, is discontinued, Derek. I don't think that's still a thing. But yeah, that's how you would cut your hair. But you'd hook it up to the vacuum, I believe. I don't think those still exist. All right. Yeah, they say dream big. They say dream big, and maybe one of these days we'll get there. Any events, back to the slate. We have a 7:20 slate. There's plenty of time, and we're here for another 50 minutes until we yield to crunch time. So lots of conversation to be had in the chat. Let me know who are missing as far as pitchers. How deep should we have this conversation? Tim, are you going to go kind of sort of somewhat double barrel? Are you considering saving some salary? I know you make basically your one lineup. I don't think I am. Like stepping down Hunter Brown or Waldron. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not double barreling tonight. Definitely not. Too many good bats. Too many decent mid-range and low-end pitching options also. So even if I fade Gaussman, which I think I'm going to in single entry, I'm not going to go like Peralta Wheeler. I'm not going to go Peralta Reagans. No double barrel for me. I think there's even a case to be made, like not in cash, but I think there's definitely a case to be made to go double punt pitcher with Brown and Waldron, and just pay up for as many bats as you can. I mean, it's not, if you look at projections, the difference, like if you look at the bat projections, you look at the difference between Brown and Waldron, they're projected for only like 3 points less than the highest projected raw point pitcher and you save $4,000. So I don't know. It's definitely a build that I'm considering.
Alex says that's exactly what he's doing. I just think the opportunity cost is too high that I don't want to double barrel cheapies. But if you think Waldron really does have that ceiling. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree, but I mean, that's fine. I mean, certainly Wheeler could go out and get 40. That's certainly a possibility, but I don't think the opportunity cost really is that high, because there's also really big opportunity cost at hitting. So, I mean, I know that hitting is way more volatile than pitching, but I think going double low in single entry is a very viable strategy.
I mean, you can always obviously you can't get every bat in the world, but you can find the salary, to get 2 or 3 of the big bats, and you'll get some cheapies coming along. But obviously, if you want the Yankees, they're expensive. Soto and Judge are going to cost you for sure. Philadelphia, if you want Harper and Schwarber, even the other guys like Baumann, they're expensive. If you want to pick on San Fran, out of that ballpark stinks. We're not sure who's throwing baseballs. It might be Drew Pomerantz, which is kind of weird, but that might be the case. There's some other offenses. Toronto is pretty cheap though. But that might be a chalky route, right? Toronto and at least one good pitcher. Alex saying my outfield is Soto, Judge, and Stanton. Stanton quietly has been really good this year by hit standards. Like a lot of 13 home runs I think he has so far this year. When he's healthy and when he hits the ball, that ball still goes really, really. He hits it really hard too. Thankfully, they figured out the technology. Now I was always wondering. It looks like he hits the ball harder than everybody else, and they figured it out. And it turns out he does. He does hit the ball hard. Bobby, is there any X outs? We're gonna cross out one of these top pitchers just because you're talking about Gaussman, Peralta 27%, Wheeler at 20%, Reagan's 13%, Cortez 8%, not going to be owned. Castillo's really good, but Houston's tough. 2 of the best hitters. Alvarez, Tucker, one of the best hitters in baseball this season. That's how you get him with lefties. That's their 2 best hitters, but otherwise I think he's fine. But, ownership's going to reflect that as well. Fried, it's just, a matter of upside. I guess he can go 8 clean. And strike out 6 or 7. That's something he can do. He can eat a bunch of innings. Anybody you're just going to cross out as far as the pitching pool of realistic names?
It's going to be Castillo. Going up against Houston, Alvarez, Tucker, pretty good BVP versus him. Ooh. I just can't. 9-2 for Castillo versus Houston. They don't strike out enough. Castillo's going to be the easy cross out.
All right, Cleveland lineup just came out. According to the chat, it's rough. Let's see. What is Cleveland? They are in cores today. J-Ram's in there. We got Freeman leading off, Jimenez, Ramirez, Josh Naylor, Fry, Manzardo, so a cheap first baseman. Brennan, the other Naylor, Bo, and Arias is Who are they missing here as far as Cleveland?
It's Jimenez they're missing, right?
No, he's batting second.
He's batting second.
It's Arias is in.
Yeah, instead of Rocchio. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty standard Cleveland's. We'll talk about them, but they're just a weird team because, I guess they just don't hit enough home runs. Something you can, especially in cores, and if all those doubles add up. Kwan's coming back soon, by the way, just a heads up. I think he's currently rehabbing right now. Arise leading off for San. Is Arise going to get like a revenge double against the Marlins? He can't revenge Homer, but maybe a revenge double, possibly against the Marlins. He'll power one to the outfield.
He homered the other day in Great American.
Yeah, it was his first home run. It was his first home run of the year.
3 years. Yeah.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby, are you playing any Cortez?
No, the Angels crush lefties. I don't. Not that I want to full stack the Angels, but they've been absolutely hammering lefties. So going to stay away from Cortez.
Are you thinking about him? Is he kind of work for you, Tim? Why do you ask? I think he's fine.
No, I only asked because he said he was an X out Castillo, and I figured he'd probably be Xing out Cortez as well.
Yeah, I think Cortez is in the mix as well. Yeah, to be X.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I'm not going to play him in single entry.
We got a refresh of ownership, by the way. I'm trying to see if anything really changed. Not really, nothing dramatic. Gausman kind of in its own tier, 36%, 27% for Peralta, 22% for Fried, 20% for Wheeler. Brown a little bit ahead of Waldron, 18% to 15%. Tim, I was going to ask who you prefer amongst those two, but it sounds like you're considering maybe rostering both.
I'm considering it. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go Hunter Brown. But if I was making like quite a few teams tonight, I would definitely get some pieces of Seattle bats as well, just because we've seen how bad Hunter Brown can be. We've seen Seattle does have power. So if I was making 150, I would certainly be getting some hedge Seattle stacks. But I think if I had to choose one between Brown and Waldron, it would be Brown. Just because the Mariners just strike out so much.
Eric pointing out in chat the Guardians are 10th in homers. So yeah, that's on me. I probably should give them more credit power-wise. I take it back. They're 11th in ISO for what it's worth as well. So more power. I'm kind of judging them based on the big picture history, but they've been better power-wise this year. And you got J-Ram, you got Naylor. There's some power in that lineup. So, and the rookie Manzardo, eventually, theoretically, it's going to come as well. Anything else as far as pitchers we should focus on? We should mention. Let's see. Oh, is Michael Harris leading off today? I was thinking he might lead off. I've not seen that. Yeah, okay. Because they had he wasn't leading off the other day because obviously Acuna's done for the year, which is a bummer. But they were facing a lefty. Yeah, they jumped him all the way up to the leadoff spot, and Albies is batting 5th. Okay, Harris, Riley, Ozuna, Olsen, Albies, Murphy, Kelnick, Duvall, Arcia tumbling to the 9th spot. Okay, yeah, I like Harris a good bit. Somebody asked about Jake Irvin. That doesn't seem necessary at all. I don't get it. If anybody has a Jake Irvin take, by all means, fire it off. Mr. Richards,
Atlanta not having Acuna, and they've been gutless pretty much all year. So I wouldn't do it, but I think I get where he's coming from a little bit.
He's got the 3rd lowest K rate on the slate, 19%. Jake Irvin. He's going to throw strikes. I don't know what his upside would be. And I feel like he's not a guy that goes particularly deep. I could be wrong on that. What is his pitch count projection? That just doesn't seem necessary to me. 96 pitches. This is, assuming things go well. So, Tim, will we consider Jake Irvin? I'm not, for the record.
I would not. I definitely would not.
Okay. Let's move on and talk about hitters, I believe. Give me the summary, Tim, because some people, I can't believe it either, but they don't watch the entire show. They didn't jump on exactly 5 o'clock on the East Coast. They jump in right now and they say, I want to just hear a summary as far as pitchers, and then I want to hear some stuff about stacks. So somebody just tuned in. Give me like the 1 minute summary. How are we attacking pitchers today?
All right, so if you're playing cash games, you're definitely playing Kevin Gausman, and then you can pick one of I think Zach Wheeler, Freddie Peralta, or Hunter Brown as your SP2. And then, but in tournaments, I think you can fade Gausman in tournaments and get different with guys like Cole Reagans. I think you can, get different by double paying down with Hunter Brown and Waldron. I think that there's quite a few different ways that you can go about pitcher today. Gausman's going to be the overwhelming chalk. His ownership keeps going up. So in single entry, it's going to be well over 50%, I'm assuming. So I think that I'm going to be fading him in my single entry team and probably playing him, and definitely playing him in my cash game team.
Unless I missed something, I feel like Roth updated the weather, and I think it got slightly worse in Chicago. It's now yellow-orange. Was it not straight yellow before? Am I making that up? I feel like it's got a little bit worse there, yellow-orange. Scattered showers and storms. Storm coverage is fairly widespread. Pre-game should taper off a bit during game time hours, but there's still rain around. So, okay. Just, Roth will be on in about 40 minutes or so, give you an update, give you some clarity, but a little bit more alarming there as far as Gausman. By the way, Tim, I said, some people they don't watch the entire show. They jump on right about now. Your boy, Broccoli Boy in chat said, yeah, that's me. I'm just tuning in. And he doesn't want anything about pictures. He wants to tout me some snacks. I don't know if you have any snacks you want to tout him, but there you go. I don't know that somebody wants to tout him Funyuns in chat. Apparently, is what's being. We'll have the power rank that one day, I suppose. Types of chips, but isn't he? How is he supporting you, Tim? That's your boy, and he's tuning in a half hour late. What kind of friend is that?
That's terrible. What a bad friend.
Yeah. I'd block him personally.
He really isn't
I'd block him too.
Well, you already did, Dean.
I'd block him again.
Dean already.
I don't block him just so I can block him again. You got anything to add, Bobby, as far as pitchers, or shall we talk about our stack board?
I will say this. I think a lot of people are going to think like Tim, pay down, Hunter Brown, Waldron, and these guys that are up here at 11K being Wheeler and Peralta. They're going to get lost in the shuffle. So I think you can go overweight on some of these higher end pitchers to be different tonight.
Let's see. B-Shot wants to know, are Funyuns chips? No, they're a snack though, but they're not chips, right? I don't think they're chips. Funyuns chips? No.
These are not like Funyuns. Whatever they are, they're good.
You and Jesse Pinkman. Yeah, but I would say that's the second poll of the day. Are Funyuns chips? By the way, an update in the poll. Let's see what we have here. Are you happy Angel Hernandez retired? 66% said yes, 12% said yes, and 21% said no. Alex is saying Funyuns are puffs. Puffs.
What are puffs? What are puffs? I've never heard of them.
I think that's like a cheese puff, though. I think that's what a puff is, isn't it? They're not chips. I think it's like a cheese puff. Yeah, Kirkwood's saying, what are cheese puffs? Cheese puffs are cheese puffs. They're not chips. Is this the new, is the hot dog a sandwich? Is that what's happening right here? I don't know. But
corn puff. I don't know. What's a corn puff? This is like, I'm learning so many things here. I think Alex is just making stuff up now.
Oh no, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. I think he knows what he's talking about. All right, Bobby, you have any thoughts on this important matter, or do you want to talk about some stacks?
Zero thoughts. Let's get into stacks, Dean.
Bobby is all business today.
All right, Bobby's absolutely exhausted today. I'll tell you that much. I don't know. I have no idea why.
Is the kid? Well, the kid's probably wearing you down, right?
I think it's the kid. Yeah.
You don't want to name names. You don't want to point fingers.
You need more Red Bull, Bobby.
Yeah.
I crushed that Red Bull and I'm still exhausted. So.
You got the Instacart? Maybe we can get one delivered to you on the show if they're fast enough.
No, my girlfriend does the Amazon stuff, Dean. I'm not technical enough.
You don't know how to use Instacart?
She just uses my credit card.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Oh, today's tell us we power ranked Bills. I guess I mostly did it. I kind of sort of took the lead in this one. But yeah,
this is completely yours, Dean.
Yeah, this is completely
Bobby and I had zero input on this list.
You were there. So. You were around for the conversation.
No. Anytime I said anything, you were like, no. This is all
Well,
you
there was a
need.
reason why, and I can explain it, which is fine.
All right.
But tell us in
All
chat.
right.
Tell us in chat the best bill and the worst bill. The best, who is the greatest bill and the worst bill. There you go. We're going to reveal the board momentarily. But Eric says, I'm the boss. Well, we sort of bounced back and forth, and I guess I took the lead on this one. And, you'll take the lead in the next one, Tim. You could be, you can get executive power. I'm happy to yield. But, I was, obviously
Dean is not
one.
happy to yield. That is a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie.
I'm always happy to yield. I always try to bring people in. But, all right. So, because we had the homage, Bill Walton. I freaking love Bill Walton. I do not care for college basketball. The only reason why I watch college basketball, outside of maybe having some money in the game, is if Bill Walton was calling the game. He was incredible. He was a legit one of one. Like, nobody was like that dude. Like, you ask him a question on a talk show, and he'll give you like a 12-minute answer and not answer the question. Just amazing. Just incredible stuff. I spent my day yesterday, parts of it, just kind of looking at some of his old quotes, some of his old interviews, and I just think he's a fascinating person. And yeah, so Bill Walton gets the top spot. Yeah, you said, Tim, what about Bill Russell? And I said, well, Russell's spectacular too, but it would almost be an insult to put him in the 2 spot. So we're just going to leave him off the board entirely. So that's why I didn't want to put Russell in there, because Russell is a 1, but just for this particular instance, there's a lot of Bills we didn't even rank, right? Bill Burr is not in the board, unfortunately. We got Bill Murray on there, Bill Hader, shout out to Barry. Great show. I just put Belichick on there just to troll Bobby a little bit. I don't know, just trolling Bobby just for funsies. He was a good sport on the Tom Brady roast. I don't know if you guys watched that, but supposedly he secretly has like a good sense of humor. And then I had Lane Beer at the bottom, but I guess I swapped it out for electric bill or phone bill. Any bill you got to pay is the worst bill. Derek is saying Billy Bob Thornton, and that's the thing. This is not the Billy Power Rankings. This is the Bill Power Rankings. And we live in a society, unfortunately, so we cannot consider Billy. Oh, yeah, Thurman Thomas. That would have been a good answer. Yeah, just sort of Jim Kelly, just like naming random bills. Did not take that route. Medical Bill could have been the last one. Bill from Bill and Ted. Yeah. Was that Keanu? I'm not sure. Was he Bill or Ted? I don't recall which one he was. Bill Esquire, Theodore Logan. There you go. And again, not Billy Ripken. It's Bill Ripken. Billy Ripken not considered. All right. So did you had issues with this board, Tim? You didn't like it because you sounded like you wanted no accountability for this board, basically. So
I want absolutely nothing to do with this board. So I'll play along with this board team, but this is not endorsed by me.
Yeah. Cosby was not considered. We don't want to go down that route.
Bobby wanted to include him. Just so
that isn't
knows.
true. Dean brought it up first. Dean brought up Cosby first. He's saying it wasn't considered, but he brought him up there first.
Well, we have a record of this, so we'll see.
I have the receipts, Bobby. So I would halt right there. We have.
I didn't.
Receipts.
No, that isn't. Whoa. I have the receipts too. I answered you. I answered you on that. You brought up Cosby first.
One of us is playing tired. It might have a bad memory because I'm telling you.
I said Buffalo Bill. You
did say Buffalo Bill. That's the guy from Silence of the Lamb, or just an actual Buffalo?
Yeah. Actual Buffalo Bill as thinking, just throwing it out, stuff in your list of bills that I didn't want to participate in also. So
is Bruce Smith the best Buffalo Bill of all time? I don't think so. Who would be the greatest Buffalo Bill of all time? I don't know who. I'm not a Buffalo Bill fan, but I would imagine Jim Kelly would be the first one.
I would say Jim Kelly, right? It would have to be.
That's
Jim
what I would have
Kelly.
guessed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andre Rison, maybe.
Wait, Andre? No, you're thinking of Andre Reed. Andre Rison.
Andre Reed. Sorry.
Yeah, his girlfriend, Left Eye, burned down his house in Atlanta. That was a story back in the day. But
who's Bill Hader? You
ever watch? He was from SNL. You ever watch Barry, the show on HBO? You should.
Never.
It's spectacular.
Bobby doesn't watch. Bobby doesn't watch anything good. Dean.
No,
you know that. You know this by now. Yeah,
Bill Nye is somewhere. He's upset. No Bill Nye shout out. Yeah, OJ is the greatest Bill, according to some people in chats. Of course, this is why you don't ask questions to the chat. Bill Buckner almost made the bottom. There's Bill Hader. There you go, producer Steve Sean. Do you recognize this guy?
I recognize.
You've seen him before.
I've seen him before.
Yeah, he's popped up on a lot of things. It will be Josh Allen. It might be Josh Allen eventually. He could possibly be the best Bill of all time. Okay, that is our board. Let's go ahead and rank our favorite stacks. Tim, you have the honor of going first. First game we're going to talk about is Washington. Washington at Atlanta. We talked about Atlanta's different lineup today versus the righty, Jake Irvin. Jake Irvin taking on Max Fried. Max Fried, a very heavy favorite. Minus 260 favorite, 8.5 total. Paltry team total for the Nats, 3.1, give or take. Atlanta with a team total over 5. Where are we putting the Braves and the Nats? Tim, the board is yours. Is Steve correct? Did he correctly predict where you're going?
I would put Washington all the way down to the bottom. Fried is not a high strikeout pitcher, but he could easily go complete game shutout against this team. Washington, I don't know, not a very powerful team, so I'm not too worried about that matchup at all. I hate Washington today, so they're definitely at the bottom. And I agree with Steve, Atlanta all the way up at the top, over 5 implied team total. Good lineup, even without Acuna. So, I mean, this team is extremely, extremely solid. One of the best stacks on the board today. Have absolutely no issue with them being on the top of the list.
Shout out to Ruthless Villain with the Schoolhouse Rock reference. I'm just a bill waiting on Capitol Hill. There you go. Well played. How do we feel about this board here? One all the way up top, one all the way down low. Are we good with this, Bobby?
I think we're good with that. I might move Washington to Belichick just because I was going through the pitch mixes, and I like Abrams a little bit, lefty on lefty. No one's going to play him at all. Vargas, Ruiz, you don't have to play those guys, but I don't know. I think that there's interesting one-offs, but it is Fried, so I guess electric would probably leave it an electric, Dean. Leave it an electric. It's not great.
It's just so hard. Just shortstop is so strong, and I love Abrams too. I like Abrams as well, but he's got to be a great group of counterparts. And then now that I have Abrams, am I stacking up Washington? Probably not. Fried keeps the ball on the ground, doesn't give up home runs essentially. So yeah, it's tough. But I hear you. Nobody's going to own him. Do you think you have Abrams in one of your 10 teams? And is he an a la carte piece, or you have a little mini stack, 2 or 3?
No, I was just going through the pitch mix, and Washington graded out pretty well for me. But I get what you're saying. He's a ground ball pitcher. He doesn't get tagged a lot, so it's tough to really stack against Fried, and the one-offs, they're not going to come with a ton of power. So yeah, even the one guy that you would want to play, Nick Senzel. Stevie broke it down on Morning Grind last night. He hits a ton of ground balls, and Fried's a ground ball pitcher, and it just equates to ground balls. So there's no real reason to get to Washington, but they did grade out pretty well from a pitch mix perspective.
Cam mentioning Ruiz is 2-4, batting 5th as a catcher. I mean, catcher is better than it used to be too, right? But as far as the flat out punt catchers, Ruiz is probably the best option that I'm seeing, right? The guys that are all the way at the bottom, better than Vasquez, better than Amaya, but none of it's great. But if you want to flat out punt it, that's probably where you would go. All right. Next up, we had a pitching change here for the White Sox. It's Jake Woodford taking on Kevin Gausman. Some weather potentially lurking. We want to see what Roth has to say. Again, currently that game is yellow-orange. 4.5 total for Toronto here, minus 230 favorite. The White Sox have a team total less than 3, which is bad. All right. Yeah. What do we have here, Bobby, when it comes to Toronto and the White Sox?
Yeah. So for Toronto's and Bill Murray, for me, they grade out well. They very, very well. They would have been great versus Clevenger. Bo Bichette's starting to heat up. It's just, Schneider, Jansen, I think those guys are great plays. Springer hit a home run yesterday. I just can't. Guerrero would be the guy that I leave out of the stack, and because he's such an important piece of that lineup, I just think they're in the Murray category for me. For the White Sox, yeah, they're fine in electric. Gausman. I just don't. Gausman's starting to heat up, right? He also said that he was injured earlier in the year and probably should have started the year off with DL or IL. So I don't know. I just don't want any part of the White Sox today versus Gausman. And I really do hope we get like some weather to where people are a little bit scared off with all the pitching options, keeps his ownership down, maybe, because I want to play a lot of Gausman tonight.
All right. But the Vladdy thing is so annoying too, because I keep playing him as well. He just he keeps the ball on the ground. I got 20% fly balls. I'm looking at it right now, and I don't know if you watched the game yesterday. 3-0 count. I guess when you get a juicy pitch, 3-0 count. He swings at it, ground ball to the shortstop. It's like, come on, man! Like at least hit a fly ball somewhere.
You know we're doing it right now, right?
We're playing Vladdy. Is that what you're saying?
We're mushing the ground ball, and it's turning a home run tonight.
I think I'm going to play some Vlad again. I did want to mention Woodford, by the way, last year in 47 innings. 47 innings last year, 13% strikeouts, 10% walks, over 11% barrel rate. That's too high. A 6.23 ERA, a 5.35 Sierra, over 2 homers per 9, which is a lot. 22.9% homer to fly ball, so that's a little bit unlucky. But still, just to be clear, they swapped out a bad pitcher for a bad pitcher, and it's the White Sox. You can kind of assume that's what was happening here. But, jump in here, Tim, as far as your thoughts on Chicago and Toronto.
So I'm going to put the White Sox in Belichick just because they get a little bit of leverage off of the chalkiest pitcher on the slate. So I'm going to go White Sox Belichick, and I'm going to go Toronto in Hader, because I'm a little bit worried that Toronto is going to be popular on the offensive side also, and I don't want to play a popular Toronto team on a 10-game slate.
All right, this is where I break the tie. I'm going to keep Toronto and Murray, and I'll let you put. You said you want to put Chicago and Belichick. They're moving up.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. I get it.
You're living on the fence. You're living on the fence.
Well, I agree with one of you on one. I agree. I split the difference.
Exactly. Just make the stand, Dean.
I thought I made an official ruling, and we'll move on. All right, Kansas City, Minnesota, 7.5 is the total. Riggins versus Woods, Richardson. KC is the bigger favorite here. Is the favorite here, -132, almost a 4-team total here, Tim. I think we like Riggins, especially against a bunch of righties. Weird lineup iteration for Minnesota. Again, this is an analytically driven team. They're big on their pinch hit stuff, but it's kind of strange that they're rolling out 9 righties against Riggins and his 32% K rate versus righties. But that is what they're doing. Your board, Tim, Royals, Minnesota.
So I would go Minnesota all the way down to the bottom. I really like Riggins today. He might be my favorite pitcher overall in the entire slate. I'm not sure. So I think that Riggins dominates this matchup. So I'm going to go Minnesota down at the very bottom. Then KC's a little bit tough. I'm going to kind of cop out, I guess, and go put KC in the hater spot because there are pieces of KC that I like quite a bit. Bottom of that lineup's pretty weak. But guys like Bobby Witt, it's hard to pass up on talent like that. So there are pieces of KC that I absolutely love. So I'm going to go KC in hater.
Bobby?
I'm pretty much in agreement with Tim. KC and Hader. Obviously, you play Witt, Sal Perez. I don't like. We had a different projected lineup. They added in Isbell, Hampson, and another.
Lofton probably was in there.
And Lofton, yeah, Lofton is fine on the cheap side at second base, but don't love the Hampson addition. So Hader makes sense for KC, and yeah, like you guys said, like they threw all righties against Riggins, and obviously he has the strikeout potential. I see the Twins in electric as well, so no interest in the Twins versus Riggins.
Giants lineup just dropped. It's Matos, Yez, Estrada, Chapman, Bailey, Soler, Wisely, Ramos, and Brooks. That is the San Fran lineup. Doesn't look especially great. Okay. I don't think they're going to be especially popular, bad ballpark, but just did want to pass that along as far as their lineup. The Cubbies in Milwaukee, 7.5 and over low total. Pretty big favorite here on the Milwaukee side with Peralta taking the bump, -160. You're going to have a packed house. Anytime Chicago goes to Milwaukee, they sell out the building, and it's like half Cubs fans. It's a great atmosphere when the Cubs go to Milwaukee. Ben Brown on the other side feels like not great as far as the offenses, but two pretty good offenses that can at least power out some homers. You catch them on the right day. This is your board. This is Bobby's board. Producer Steve is saying he's throwing them both in the middle with Bill Hader. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I feel like they're both. Actually, you know what? I'll put the Cubs in Belichick. I think the Cubs make the most sense in Belichick, in Milwaukee, and Hader. Just from a Milwaukee perspective, I just want to see which bats I liked. I think you can run on. I just think they'll be able to run on Ben Brown a little bit. So I like Yelich, like Terang, Jake Bowers, Willie Adames. I think those guys are fine. And then from Chicago, I don't really love much in Chicago. Like Christopher Morel at 4.3 is always fine to play. Suzuki, but that's pretty much as far as I'm going in terms of Chicago. I guess you could always play Bellinger as well.
4 stolen bases this year versus Brown for what it's worth in like 39 innings. Tim, what do you got as far as are we agreeing with Bobby? Are we going to start fighting or what?
Pretty much agree. I'd go Cubs and Belichick just because I think their matchup is pretty tough. And then I was actually thinking about putting Milwaukee up in the Murray section, but I don't think they quite have Slate winning upside. But I love like mini stacks of Milwaukee, so I'd keep Milwaukee in Hader.
Our projection team just added Spencer Howard. It looks like, Spencer Howard has been called up by the Giants as of 8 minutes ago. They sent down, Wade got hurt yesterday, sliding into second base. Lamont Wade is on the IL. Pomerantz designated for assignment. That was all right. I don't think he actually threw a baseball for them. Pomerantz, they called him up. He hasn't thrown a baseball in the majors like in 3 or 4 years or something like that. And he was listed like as being on their roster, but I guess not. McKenna and Pomerantz DFA'd. Spencer Howard and Trenton Brooks selected from AAA. That's who Brooks was. I was like, who's Brooks? Is that a prospect of some sort? Do you know who Trenton Brooks is? That's the guy who's cracking the lineup tonight. 28 years old. Has he played baseball in the majors before? I don't think so. Cool. Good for him. He's getting his MLB debut at 28. Keep living the dream. This is why I still think one of these days I'm going to get to go to the an infomercial because you never it's never too late, right? It was never too late for Trenton Brooks at 28 years old. But yeah, I guess they're just beat up, right? They don't really have much options here. He doesn't look great for the record, but good for him nonetheless. Did you guys see the dude for the Mariners who tweeted out like 10 years ago at the Mariners, like, I'm going to be like at this ballpark and play. I can't wait, or I'm going to be there one day. He made his debut for him yesterday. I can't remember the guy's name. But I don't even know how he knew it was the Mariners. Did he tweet at every single team? I don't know. But do you guys know what I'm talking about? Any idea?
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see anything about that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's just nice to see. All right. Howard is going to get the most likely be the bulk man for San Fran. And he once upon a time was a big-time prospect, but whenever he got called up, he was shellacked in the majors. I meant to look. Did you guys look at his minor league numbers by chance? Spencer Howard this season? Like
a lot of strikeouts. It hasn't translated, though, so is it going to translate for the Phillies?
Is he just a quad A kind of guy? Is that what it is, possibly? Just he can crush in AAA and just is terrible in the majors.
Seems that way.
27. He was once. They're saying. Let's see. He was once like a number one prospect for I think Philadelphia. I want to say. Anyways, don't we have like 80 minutes until lock? Yeah, lock is a little bit later than it typically is. If you guys are not aware, because the second half of the Dodger game is not in the main slate anymore. That would start at 7:10. That's the only 7:10 game. So lock is actually 7:20 tonight.
You know who we have to alert about this, Dean?
Who's that?
Kevin Roth. He has to be alerted about the start time. He's not going to like it.
He's going to be so tilted.
I don't think he's gotten a start time right in like the last 2 weeks, just because it's been all over the place, and he just thinks everything's 7:05.
Well, the other thing is every once in a while I'll slide into his DMs. Like, so right now he's got Pittsburgh, Detroit as orange. And I'm sure somebody out there cares about the Pittsburgh, Detroit weather. But like, we don't care for the purposes of our conversation. We don't care. But he'll sweat. Like, he takes it very seriously. He'll sweat the games out.
No, 100%.
And like, he comes out like, yeah, we don't care about the games. Like, I spent the last 20 minutes trying to figure it out.
You just have to look at You just have to look at the DK app on your phone, Kevin. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. But again, I'm sure he probably has somebody asking about it. You know what I mean? Just because he's the go-to, and I imagine he's there to answer the question. But anyways, all right. We are getting derailed. We still have 15 minutes till crunch time comes in. I believe it's Keith and Taylor Smith and Kevin Roth. What is going on in chat? They're talking about Alice Cooper. What? Oh, are they doing the Milwaukee, the pronunciation from Wayne's World? Is that the bit that's happening? I think that's what's happening right now. I'm just catching up on what's going on. Are
you not going to address that? Are you not going to address that season-long question, Dean?
What is the season-long question? I'm in the season-long streets. What is it?
It's Eovaldi coming back from IL. Do I drop Chris Bassett, Braxton Garrett, Carlos Rodon, or Brian Wu to make room for Eovaldi?
I don't think so. I'm probably not the guy for that one, but I don't think so. Off the top of the head,
what?
Who would you drop amongst that group? Well, where is this question? Why don't I see this question? Oh, there it is. Official Rick. Oh, official Rick Ross. What's up, Rick Ross? Probably not. Maybe you drop. You don't know. You don't drop Wu. You don't drop Rodon. I don't think. Yeah, I think if anybody, you drop Garrett. I think, but that's unofficial advice. Well, yeah, I'm in the DFS street. So like professionally, I'm in the DFS streets. I'm not professionally. I dabble in the season long stuff. But
it's like Bobby. Garrett. It's like Bobby with best ball.
Yes, exactly. By the way, you know what? I'm back in the Top Shot streets.
Are you really?
I got a Caitlin Clark today. We're gonna get even, boys.
There you go.
But I like to open things. It's fun, I like it. Takes me back to my childhood. Open up a pack is fun. And I got a Caitlin Clark, and I don't know. I assume that's worth something, maybe theoretically, although I can't hold it. All right, let's move on. We're talking about the D-backs. The D-backs at Texas. Do we have a Texas lineup? We should have one. We don't. I'm not touting. Officially, I'm not touting Top Shots. Just to be clear, Derek, yes. That was not a tout. That was just me saying I'm dabbling. I'm back in the Top Shot streets. Arizona, Texas. I don't know who's up first. Who's batting? Who's batting first here amongst you two? We got.
I think it's Tim.
Tim, D-backs, Rangers, Eovaldi, Vaught. Go for it.
This game's kind of tough. I don't really like this game that much. There's certainly pieces like one-offs all over the place in terms of power on both sides. So I think you at least have to put them both in hater. I don't mind going a little bit higher with Texas all the way up to Murray just because their implied team total is 4.5, which is pretty decent. They got power up and down that lineup. So I guess I'd go Texas, Murray, and Arizona hater.
Bobby?
Texas hater, Arizona hater for me.
Let's see. I think they're both kind of in the middle for me too. I'm going to agree with Bobby. I think they're both kind of in the middle. They're both sort of fine. Bobby, Cleveland, Colorado, 10. So you don't give me a hard time when I actually agree with you. You no pat in the back. It's just
no. I appreciate you agreeing with me. You should agree with me more. I feel like when I'm on with Chop, I get the agreement every time. I'm on with Tim. It's a little bit dicey,
Well, I had my power rankings of co-hosts, and that's never going to officially be released.
That's what we need. That's what we need is the co-host power rankings.
Last day of the year. Cleveland, Colorado, 10.5 is the total. Colorado close to a 5 total. Cleveland is a favorite here, minus 132. McKenzie taking on Feltner. This would be Bobby's board.
Yeah, Cleveland's going to be up in the Walton for me in Colorado. Jose Ramirez, Bo Naylor, Josh Naylor, Fry.
All the Nailers.
Freeman. I think they're all very good plays tonight. Team total went up a little bit too. Put Cleveland and Walton in Colorado and Bill Murray. I think McMahon is an interesting pivot off of chalky Jose Ramirez in the same game. Just in the context of this slate. Also like Blackman, who was hot last couple games, so I don't mind getting to him. Some of these a couple other of these Rockies look pretty good that they usually don't. And yeah, I don't know. They're going against Tristan McKenzie with like no UCL on his arm. So Brendan Rodgers, I thought was another guy. It is a weird thing. I don't know how he's throwing at all, really. So
he's walking a lot of dudes. He's got a 13.9% walk rate, which is not a good thing to do, especially in Coors Field. The K rate 20%, not great either. But Colorado kind of stinks. Just adding a little bit of color to that.
So Steve isn't paying attention, but Cleveland and Walton and the Rockies and Murray.
I saw him shuffling it around. He's doing like 19 different things. He's keeping us on the air. You know, he's doing his best. Yeah, so Cleveland is in Walton. We have Colorado and Murray. Do we agree? Do we disagree with this, Tim?
I completely agree with that. Both of them.
All right. Do you know what your stack is just yet, Tim, as far as your single entry? Or are you still kind of figuring it out?
I still got to figure out who I'm pitching. Usually I pitcher like nailed down by now. I don't today.
You have like 2 of these like 5 guys, 2 of these 6 guys, right? Is that what it is basically? 2 of 4? How many are in the real pool? The real pool, 4 or 5?
In terms of pitching?
Yeah, as far as your pitchers, how many are you actually debating? 4 or 5?
Like 6.
2 cheapies? Okay.
Like, yeah, which is like weird. You know, usually I don't have that many people I'm debating about. So
I think pitching in cash is super easy today, or single entry. Maybe I'm just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Gausman, Waldron, and single entry. It's, I don't know. I guess there are
Waldron. I wouldn't play Waldron in cash.
You wouldn't play Waldron in cash?
No. I mean, Gausman 100%. You're playing cash, but I would not.
You would play Brown. I don't know if I love Brown today.
I don't know if I love Brown either, but I would play him over Waldron in cash games.
By the way, Pirates and Detroit postponed for those that care. That was a Scooball, so no Scooball today. That, of course, was not on our slate, but it makes Roth's life a little bit easier because he was probably sweating that game out on a slate that doesn't matter for our purposes, at least. Okay, Yankees, Angels, Canning, Cortez. I think this is Tim. 8.5 total, almost a 5 total for the Yankees. Locked in for 9 on the road versus Griffin Canning. I thought we had a Yankee lineup. I thought I saw earlier today where DJ LeMahieu was back in our lives. I think he was batting 9th, but now I'm not seeing it. But I thought I saw one earlier. But okay, he is in the projected lineup for what it's worth. But yeah, I don't know why I'm starting with LeMahieu. Of course, the people know about Judge and Soto, and shortstop is a tough position. But Volpe, on the road leading off, locked in for, I shouldn't say locked in, but very well positioned for 5 ABs. Where do you have the Yankees and the Angels, Tim?
Yankees are pretty close to Walton, but I'm going to go Murray for the Yankees. They have so much tremendous power. Canning's been really, really bad. So I think the Yankees are Murray for me. And then the Angels, man. I guess Belichick. I guess I would go Belichick with the Angels.
Dean's going to agree with me again. I can't wait.
Go for it. What do you got?
Yankees in Walton, Angels in Hater.
I agree with Yankees in Walton. I think the Yankees should be in the top tier today. Angels, I think they're kind of right. They're where they should be.
They've been killing lefties. They've been killing lefties. You can't say Joe Adele, Rengifo. We can go down the list. Ohape, like there's a ton.
I mean, you're buying Kevin Pillar. You're buying this resurrection.
Kevin Pillar look at his ISO versus lefties.
How many at bats we talking about? I mean, this is not going to sustain, is it?
It's been a long enough sample size. His whole no, it hasn't been his whole career, but these last 2.5 weeks of his career, or 3 weeks, he's been fantastic. So Hater it is.
39 at bats this year against lefties. Let's see, his basic. He's got a 257 ISO, 457 WOBA, which is not sustainable. I do like Adele. They're cheap. You know what? You made an appeal, and I heard you out, and I will agree with you. Let's throw the Angels in Hater. See, I'm a reasonable man. All right, we got 3 games until we have crunch time coming in, knocking on the door. We also want to give out some taters. We're going to give out some Bobby Bombs as well. So let's pick up the pace here. Marlins, Padres, Waldron, Luzardo. This is your board, Bobby. 7 total.
Marlins and Belichick. Yeah, I think that Jazz De La Cruz would be 2 1-offs I'd have interest in against Waldron. Padres also, I'll go Hater with the Padres. They always have Tatis and they have Machado versus a lefty. So, yeah, that's fine I haven't really, they just threw out a new lineup, so I haven't really gone into it too much. But, yeah, that's fine, Hater.
What do you got, Tim? Any issues?
No issues with that at all. Definitely, yeah. I almost would go Padres and Belichick, but I'll stick with them in Hater.
I would too. I'm throwing them both in Belichick. I agree. There you go. I will rule with you, Tim.
I kind of like Luzardo. I kind of like Luzardo.
You're ruling with me. I put him there first.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was a makeup.
It was producer Steve. I was manipulated. I watched it move, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's where it should go. 2 more games. No lineup says Jeff for Houston, Seattle, 7.5 total. Hunter Brown, one of the chalkier SB2s on DK. Luis Castillo, really, really good arm. Going to get him fairly low owned considering his talent, but Houston, tough matchup, especially the 2 lefties, Tucker and Alvarez. I presume they cracked that lineup. Tim, this is your board. Mariners, Astros.
Yeah, so Astros, I think, are Belichick, and I think the Mariners are Belichick also. Mariners, I don't mind getting to some if you're playing multiple teams, just because Brown is going to be so popular, and Mariners do have power, so you get a lot of leverage going with Seattle. So I don't mind Seattle in Belichick, but I think Hunter Brown's a great play too. This is a really high leverage game, in my opinion.
I agree. I do agree with that. I'm hoping it's quiet because I'm probably not going to have a lot of it either way. Where are you at here, Bobby, as far as Seattle and Houston? Again, I'm both currently in Belichick.
Yeah, Houston, Jordan, Tucker, you can play them whenever you want. I'd put them in Belichick, though. Seattle's the one that I'm going to go different. I'm going to go Hater with Seattle. Julio Rodriguez seems to be coming on. Cal Raleigh, like a good bit here. JP Crawford, Luke Raley, Dominic Canzone. This is why I wasn't so sure, you guys wanted to put Brown in cash games. I would much rather pitch Waldron, I think. So, I don't know.
I don't want to put either in there, personally. I want to get 2 good pitchers, but that's me. Tim, I'm not playing cash tonight. Are you playing cash, Tim?
I am.
Okay, so you're probably going to play Brown as your SB2?
I don't know. I'm really not sure yet.
Yeah,
I'm either going to go Gausman Brown or Gausman Wheeler. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So yeah.
Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Crunch time coming in a few minutes. Also, if you see all the fabulous tools we're showing off, we're not showing off as much right now because we have the board. But if you want to use Lineup HQ at your own leisure, you get all the articles, all the bells, all the whistles. What you want to do is jump into this Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Jump into the live stream chat channel. There's a $5 DraftKings contest that producer Devin set up. Join that contest, win that contest. You get the earnings for that contest. But in addition to that added value, you get a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. If you do so while rocking the RG badge, you get 2 weeks free. All right. Eric Miller with Spencer Howard presumed behind him for the Giants, taking on the Phillies. I think the Phillies are really interesting. They're going to be really lost in the slate. Massive downgrade, obviously, as far as the ballpark. But we've seen Howard be bad when he's thrown in the majors. Billy locked in for 9. I think they're the really interesting pivot off the pivot. They're also super expensive. They're not going to be owned. But I don't know why I'm giving my spiel. It's you guys. I just got to jump in case there's any sort of ties. But Philadelphia, San Fran, Wheeler versus Miller is the opener. And then Howard behind them just got the call up. I believe, Tim, is this your board or is this Bobby's? I don't recall who's up. Who's batting first here?
I think it's Bobby.
I think it's me. I have no interest in San Fran. They'd be an electric for me. The Phillies are in Murray. Obviously, the Phillies have been red hot. You can play Schwarber, Harper down the list. You know the Phillies. It is San Fran, though, so it's a ballpark downgrade. But it definitely benefits Will. Do we know if Eric Allen is going to be Eric Miller is going to be how many pitches he's going to throw? Because I seen we had him for 61.
First inning. No, he's going to throw. He's going to throw the first inning. He's basically in there for Schwarber and Harper. He might stick around for Stott, but like he pitched yesterday. He threw like 15 pitches yesterday. He's not going to be on the first inning. Yeah, the last lefty maybe. Yeah.
So yeah, I would put San Fran in electric and Philly and Murray.
Tim?
Yeah, I completely agree. San Fran's definitely electric, and then Philly, they're really expensive, but I do like them, so you got to put them in Murray.
All right, I'm going to recap the board, fellas. Get your homer calls, your taters, your dongs, your bombs, whatever you want to call them, in Walton. We power ranked Bills. Bill Walton, of course, the number 1 Bill today. That is Atlanta, Cleveland, the Yankees. Next year, Bill Murray. We have Toronto, Colorado, Philadelphia. Bill Hader in the middle. Kansas City, Milwaukee, Texas, Arizona, Anaheim, Seattle. Bill Belichick, just to troll Bobby and all those New England fans. The Sox, the Cubbies, the Marlins, Padres, Houston, all the way down to the bottom. Nobody wants to pay that electric bill. I don't know why I picked electric, but that's what I picked. Whatever. Washington, the Twins, and San Fran. All right, Bobby. The people want to know who's going yard today. Give me the Bobby bombs.
I'm going to go Yordan Alvarez and Bo Naylor.
All right. Nobody's going to play Yordan. Like he's just
no one's going to play Yordan in DFS. Yeah.
Do you like him more than Tucker? Or are you just going to be a little? I mean, because obviously they're both, kind of in that same bucket of like, if you're playing one, you probably play both. I think. I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. I was just throwing out a home run. Like I don't even know if he's going to hit my team. I'm focusing more on the Yankees, and I just didn't want to say the obvious one and Judge. I think I'd prefer Alvarez to Tucker.
All right, Tim. The board. You got to see those homers. You got to see those bombs and raise them. Who are the taters today?
Yeah, I'm going to go Michael Harris plus 520 on FanDuel. That's the one I got right now. And then I don't know what his odds are, but I also like Sean Murphy. I got to find his odds real quick, but I do like him to homer. He's plus 450. Yeah, he's plus 450. Not great, but I'm going to bet the Harris one.
I'm not sure what's going on in chat, but Kirkwood says we should start offering a Zoom call from Dean too. I don't know what that's in relation to, but maybe we'll discuss that at some point. I have no idea. Maybe we'll talk about it with Crunch Time. Taylor Smith. We also have Keith Eyster. We have Kevin Roth, and Roth's going to be very upset when he finds out what time first pitch is. Let's bring on Kevin Roth. All right, Roth, there's going to be a lot of weather stuff. People are curious what's going on. The chalk pitcher, of course. By the way, Roth, you control this. I learned this on Twitter yesterday, reading a thread. You apparently have the ability. It's incredible how you move the needle like this. But somehow you have the ability to put like weather, I don't know, do air quotes, for the chalk pitcher. And that's what we have tonight. Kevin Gausman. And it looks like you've gone back and forth as far as the colors.
Yeah, maybe 19 or 20 times today. I've gone back and forth. Not like huge differences. Just I'm just trying to be too good, and then it just doesn't help. I need to not do that.
Is that the worst when you get accused of such a thing, Roth? And secondly, if that person was actually correct, why am I not in the secret chat that tells me, just so you know, I'm making up all this stuff about Joe Ryan? There's nothing going on. Where do I get that service?
He's doing it to benefit his teams.
Yeah, it's for my squad so that I can take down the Millie one day. No, I don't. I honestly hadn't heard that in like 3 or 4 years, and it was kind of refreshing to get it again. I used to get it all the time when I started, and it's been a long time, so it was fun to have some idiot, they're like, let's so you can help the others. Like, no, why would I do that? It's ridiculous.
Why would Roth help Dean?
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't he?
Yeah. Ice is in the chat, by the way. Ice got the heads up. He was all over the Minnesota pitcher.
You could help Ice. I wouldn't help Dean at all. Dean doesn't.
I got to get the premium package. I thought I know people. I guess not. I got to know whoever keeps.
It's about the kickbacks, Dean. It's about the kickbacks.
This is being recorded, Kevin. Just so you know.
Damn.
people are watching us. By the way, Detroit. Well, were you? Detroit was not on the main slate. I don't know if you know this, but like you always. Sometimes, people are probably still asking you about it, I guess, right?
Yeah, people care. Season long or, Yahoo Play or whatever. I don't know what, but people care. So it's good that it's postponed because that would have been a really tough one. So it's out.
Roth, do you know what time first pitch is tonight?
I don't. You teased it, and I'm terrified. I don't know what time.
Do you want to guess?
I mean, it can't be later than 10 after, right?
It can't?
It can't.
It can be after. It can be after.
Well, it was supposed to be 7-10, but the Dodgers and the Mets were postponed yesterday. The domino effect, now they have a doubleheader today, meaning they can't have the second game on the slate because what if that game, the first one goes long, so they kick it off the slate.
You're going to tell me?
7:20. It's not too bad.
That's way too damn late. No, that's outrageous. We're going to end. We're getting out of here at 7. We're done at 7. We'll have 20 minutes of cushion time. That's crazy.
You got to put it in for overtime. Roth, I saw you touting the other day on Twitter. You're already saying that the Mavs, you already have them in the finals. Yeah, the Mavs are already in the finals.
Yeah,
they've already been they've taken the warp zone, and they're
winning
Boston.
it. The Mavs are winning it. The Mavs are winning it.
Mavs at 5.
Boston's fraudulent.
Yeah, I don't know about fraudulent, but like they should be down 3-1 in that series. They somehow swept, but it was just the least impressive sweep, if that's possible, that I've ever seen. Give me the Mavs. Mavs in 5.
Well, I mean, you can only beat the team that's in front of you, but it's a fair point. Like, it's hard to say how good Boston actually is because they haven't really faced a great team just yet. By the way, could be Travis in chat says, great analysis. I shipped 10K with your weather advice yesterday. Thanks, Roth. There you go. There's your kickback.
There we go. Yeah. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Information. Maybe he just ignored my weather advice, and that's how he did it. I don't know, but I'm glad it worked out for somebody out there yesterday because it didn't for most.
All right. Anything else, boys, before you step us out of here and make way for Crunch Time? Crunch Time has got all the time in the world to talk about tonight's 10-gamer. Hopefully it's 10 games. Roth will tell us what's going on weather-wise. But Tim, Bobby, anything else, or shall we get out of here?
We'll get out of here, Dean.
We're good.
All right. For Tim, for Bobby, I was Dean. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on notifications. And don't go anywhere because Crunch Time is starting now. You got Taylor Smith. You got Keith Eyster. You got Kevin Roth. Roth, take it away.
Let's do it. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It is Crunch Time. Going to take you up to lock. Yes, as long as the questions are coming in, we will stay until lock. Take you through lock as usual. And we got two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got Taylor with just a fresh hat right now. What? Is this like a Miami Dolphins hat? What's going on here?
No, it's a Padres hat, but I need a haircut, so I'm in hat mode today.
Okay, the color is exquisite on that thing. How are you, man?
I'm good. Haven't been on in a while, so glad to be back. And pretty fun slate tonight, I think, assuming weather can not screw it all up. Yeah.
We'll see about that. I will do my best. No promises because weather certainly could screw it all up. More on that in a bit. We got my guy Keith Eyster in the house as well, a.k.a. the Iceman. What up, Ice?
Not too much. Really liking this slate. Nice, good size of 10 games. You've got a ton of great pitching options, and we've got some offenses in really good spots. We've got some weather. We got Coors Field. So all kinds of stuff to like on this slate.
Okay, well, we have one thing to not like on this slate, and that is the aforementioned weather issues. I think the main thing, of course, at this point is Chicago. And I think they're going to play. I think they might late start. I'm not that impressed by what's still upstream, but it's not perfect either. It's not, oh, this is no issue whatsoever. But I think it's good enough that they likely play, maybe needing a late start, and that it is fairly unlikely they have a delay that would knock out pitchers. That is not like an all clear. This game is still more than an hour away. So I would love to see radar closer to first pitch. But that is my current lean, is that they're going to play and that it is unlikely they have a delay in game that knocks out pitchers. So that's where I'm at. I think if you had plans to play, is it Gaussman? Who's the pitcher there?
Yep, it's Gaussman.
I think if you were planning on playing Gaussman, stick with Gaussman for now. Hopefully, and Ice, I guess I need to ask you, is there some sort of pivot after that point? If we get closer to first pitch, they're 10 minutes out, there's a big storm coming in, and it looks apparent that there is going to be an early delay. Is there a pivot?
There's definitely a pivot. The exact price is a little bit difficult. I would say getting up to Fried for 300 more is definitely a very viable option. Going down to Luzardo for 500 less, and this is DraftKings pricing I'm talking, is also an option. Neither of those feel as safe as Kevin Gaussman because he has the best matchup on the board against the White Sox. But the weather obviously is very important.
The weather changes the safety factor there.
Yeah, exactly. Not a direct pivot, I would say, but there are certainly options in that pricing range if you need
direct enough. Those are good enough pivots. And hopefully as we get closer, I'll just be able to give like the thumbs up. Looks pretty good. Probably going to work out, tweet there. But for now, keep them in your lineup. Circle back, 20 minutes before lock or so, and I'll let you know if I think things have changed. But I've got it as yellow-orange. Chance for late start, chance for delay. Probably is okay. With that, I think we can dive into pitchers. And I don't know. Who wants to lead off? Taylor, you want to lead us off?
Sure will, Kevin Roth. On DK, so Gaussman is 8.5, so he's quite a bit cheaper than the Wheeler, Reagan's, Peralta tier. They're all over 10K. I think if we get that all clear, then Gaussman is pretty clearly the SP1 for cash games and probably a guy you'd be playing in single entry stuff. Certainly a good large field play too. Chicago, just a pretty punchless offense. And he looked a little better in his last start. Maybe he's healthier now than he was earlier in the year. There are a lot of options, though. This is a super deep pitching slate. I think you can make a case for 10-ish pitchers on DK that are okay. I'm curious to see what the ownership will be on Hunter Brown on DK because he's only 6'5". He's historically been better than he's been this season. He gets that matchup against Seattle on the road. Good part for pitching. Super high strikeout offense, as we've seen all year. Brown has been pretty bad, but I think his numbers are kind of inflated in the bad way from a disaster start he had against Kansas City in April, I think. I would play him in cash on, honestly, both sites. I think FanDuel is 7.4. I think you can go down to him there if you're feeling a little brave. Easier to get to on DK on a two-pitcher site. If you don't want to play him, that's perfectly fine. We have Freddie Peralta, I mentioned, at 10.5. Against the Cubs at home. Cole Reagan's against the Twins looks reasonable. There's another cheapie, Matt Waldron, for the Padres facing the Marlins at home. He's been better than Brown this season, so if you want to lean into that in a less dangerous matchup than Brown has, I think that's okay. And then Max Fried against Washington looks decent for 8.8 on DK. You can make a case for Luzardo at only 8K. I think he's underpriced for who he is. It's just not a great spot against San Diego. Pretty low strikeout lineup, but the lineup itself is not all that imposing once you get past the top handful of hitters. So decent spot for him. And someone like Luis Castillo is not going to get owned tonight. I don't think Nestor Cortez is going to get ownership. As a result, I think both are firmly in play for tournaments. You can make a larger field case for a Brandon Pfaadt, maybe even a Simeon Woods Richardson in a large field setting. So all sorts of options out there. I think in cash on DK, I would just pair Brown with Gaussman.
Okay. Ice, what are you doing tournament wise? What's the move here?
Yeah, tons of great options. Like Taylor said, I have 8 in my pool currently. I think 10 are playable. I'll just start in the top range. I will be underweight on Freddie Peralta. That's never comfortable. He has a huge K rate. The Cubs have been striking out a ton recently. I just don't like that ownership number. And the Cubs are a very capable offense. There's a lot of power throughout the lineup. They're patient. So him being higher owned than Wheeler and Reagans in particular just doesn't sit well with me for tournaments. So I'll be underweight on Peralta. I'll be about even with the field on Zach Wheeler. It's Cole Reagans that I want to go way over the field on, and that's generally the case when he's on any slate. I think he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I've talked a couple of times about a few starts that have just kind of gone wonky for him this season, but outside of a couple 3 starts this season, he has just been the same elite dude that he showed up as last season, somewhat out of nowhere. He gets a matchup against 9 right-handed batters against in the Minnesota lineup. He's had a 31% strikeout rate against righties dating back to the beginning of last season, where it's down around 23% against lefties. So this is a sneaky good strikeout spot for Cole Reagans. He has an incredible leash. Minnesota has some power in the lineup. There's certainly some risk, but with ownership that's less than half a Wheeler and almost a third of Peralta, that just give me way overweight on Cole Reagans. Love his upside in the spot. In the mid-range, Gaussman is very clearly too cheap for the matchup if the weather holds. I would say the same about Max Fried. Like, he's not a big strikeout pitcher, but Washington is middle-of-the-road offense at best. Max Fried had a really rough start to the season, but he's been in great form here recently, coming off a 9-strikeout complete game. I think he should be a little bit more than his $8,800 price tag as well. I like Luzardo a good amount. The ownership on him looks very intriguing for tournaments. San Diego's above average offense, and they don't strike out a ton, but Taylor made a great point. Like, he's probably a 9K pitcher when he's fully right. And he is working his way back from the IL, but his pitch count was up near 100 pitches last start. So I think this is a full leash for Luzardo. Not the best strikeout matchup, but the discount on him still gives him upside, even in a tougher matchup. The cheap guys, Hunter Brown, I think he's going to be a little bit more popular than we're projecting. And I actually have a slight preference for Matt Waldron. If you look at their strikeout rates this season, Waldron has a 23.5% strikeout rate. Hunter Brown is down around 21%. Yes, the matchup for strikeouts is much better for Hunter Brown, but the Miami offense is putrid, and they don't strike out a ton. But I think Matt Waldron can go pretty deep into this game. So I think that Waldron can outscore Brown based on length and innings pitched over the strikeouts of Brown. You just hope that Seattle gets to Brown a little bit with the power. So I'll be underweight on Hunter Brown to go overweight on Matt Waldron.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I feel like that about covers it. Let's flip it and talk about some of the bets and some of the stacks. Ice, you can lead us off there.
All right, so I think there's a very clear top bucket of offenses today. You definitely have Cleveland in Coors Field. They've been an outstanding offense this season. They've hit for more power than we expected. They don't strike out all that much, and it's Coors Field against a low strikeout pitcher. So Cleveland looks like a fantastic option. The Blue Jays get Jake Woodford, who just has not struck anybody out throughout his major league career. We have not seen him since last season, as he was in the minors. This is his first major league start of the year. Blue Jays are fairly priced, and this is a great matchup against a low strikeout pitcher. The Yankees are one of my absolute favorites on the entire slate. Griffin Canning has not been right this season. The Yankees have been the best offense in baseball. Aaron Judge has gotten hot. Juan Soto has been hot. Like, we think of the Yankees as like high power, high strikeout, and that just has not been the case this season since they added guys like Juan Soto and Alex Verdugo. Like, they're actually bottom 6 in strikeout rate on the season. They're loaded with power. And Griffin Canning has had a ton of struggles this season. His strikeout rate is way down at like 17%. So absolutely love the Yankees. And then the Braves are the other one I would put in the top tier today. Jake Irvin has been solid, but this Braves offense, pour one out for Ronald Acuna. That's obviously terrible news, but they are getting, why am I blanking on names right now? The third baseman.
Sean Murphy.
They got Sean Murphy and Austin Riley back. Thanks, Taylor. So they lose one elite bat, but they're gaining a couple of really strong bats as well. They're still going to be an above average offense, even without Ronald Acuna. It's hard to say what Irvin is at this point. He's had some success, but the underlying stuff doesn't look quite as good. I'm buying into the talent there for the Braves. Going off the board a little bit, I like the Rockies a good amount. It's Coors Field, obviously. They're not a good offense, but Tristan McKenzie it's hard to know what he is at this point. He was diagnosed with a torn UCL in his pitching elbow earlier this season. His strikeout rate is way down around 20%, and he's a huge fly ball guy. And we know at altitude, the fly balls are going to go further. So really like the Rockies here against Tristan McKenzie. The Royals are interesting against Simeon Woods Richardson. They've been a much better offense than expected. Woods Richardson is not a high strikeout guy. And then for a little bit of leverage going way off the board, I think some Mariners power bats against Hunter Brown are very appealing.
Okay, very good. I should note in that in the Colorado game, there's a chance of a delay. I just added a little bit of yellow in there, but I do expect the bats are going to be fine in that game, even if they do late start or delay. But no real concerns there. Taylor, stack-wise, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I think Keith nailed that. Yankees look phenomenal against Griffin Canning. The Braves against Jake Irvin, similar story. Cleveland at Coors, of course. Toronto is a team that looks good on paper. Their prices have come down a bit from where they were earlier in the year. So it's a good spot. Whenever they're popular, I am scared to play them. But it is a good, reasonable spot for them. A couple teams he didn't mention. Arizona, I think, is kind of interesting against Nate Eovaldi coming off the IL today. He's been out for a while, probably be limited, but he will occasionally have some home run issues. Arizona, a pretty powerful lineup top to bottom. Very low strikeout lineup too. So I like their chances of doing some damage, putting the ball in play. I think the Marlins against Waldron are also playable, maybe more of a mini stack than a full stack, but it is Matt Waldron. Like if he's going to garner some ownership, I think we can play against that in a tournament just because he's pretty unproven knuckleballer that's only been in the major leagues for about a year or so. The lineup is bad. I admit it, of course, but as far as a cheap secondary stack, Bell, Chisholm's not cheap, but he fits nicely into a stack. De La Cruz has some power. Jake Berger over the last couple of years has shown quite a bit of power too. So I think it's kind of a more off-the-board stack that looks decent enough. And you can say the same of Houston. I don't think Castillo's going to be popular, but he has had some issues with lefty power. Alvarez and Tucker at the top. Pretty intriguing little mini stack there. I don't mind at all in a tournament either.
Okay. Guys, let's go around the horn. Start at the catcher spot. Taylor, what do you have for me?
Let's see. At catcher, what do we have? Bo Naylor at Coors might be semi-chalky. I think Austin Wells in your Yankee stack looks good from the left side against Griffin Canning. Sean Murphy, we mentioned back in the Braves lineup. He's only 3.5 on DK, so he's underpriced for who he is. He's been out since essentially the first weekend of the season, I think, but good spot to come back here. Keibert Ruiz is hitting 5th for Washington. Don't love that overall, but he's a decent enough hitter that's 2-4 on DraftKings. Danny Jansen hitting 2nd in your Toronto stack. I don't think the Angels are a bad off-the-board stack either against Cortez. They've hit lefties pretty well. Small sample, but Logan O'Hoppe hitting 5th. 3,800 on DK. I think he looks decent as well. And I said Bo Naylor. I don't know. Is he actually in the lineup? I think David Fry is hitting 5th.
Yeah, both are in there. Bo's down at 8.
Oh, there he is. Yeah. So you have more money to spend. Fry hitting 5th, center, catcher and outfield on DK. I don't mind that.
Okay, great. Ice, your thoughts at catcher?
Yeah, I love both of the Cleveland guys. David Fry's price tag looks a little bit outrageous, but he's been just incredible this season. So as long as he continues to hit at levels somewhat comparable to what he's done, don't be afraid to pay elite prices for David Fry. Gets the nice Coors bump today. Sean Murphy is way too cheap. He's a better hitter than this price tag. Been out a long time for that injury, like Taylor mentioned. Danny Jansen has been awesome this season as well. Another guy who might feel overpriced, but given his recent performance, totally justified. Austin Wells in a Yankee stack, I really like. Love the O'Hoppe call as well. cheap enough, good solid bat. Cal Raleigh is one of my favorite one-offs against the chalky Hunter Brown. Yeah, that about does it. I think nothing else really standing out.
Okay, first base.
All right. Manzardo is the cheap Guardian who is in Coors Field. Josh Naylor is the expensive one. So another position, another two Guardians that are very much in play. Matt Olson looks like he is in a great spot. He's really started to heat up after a slow start. Love the price tag on him on both sites. Vladimir Guerrero continues to hit too many ground balls, but you got to love the matchup for him today against Woodford. Christian Walker as a one-off, I really like. Eovaldi might be a little bit rusty. He's also had issues with right-handed power in his career. Anthony Rizzo in a Yankee stack. Bryce Harper as a one-off is certainly in play. Ballpark downgrade for them going out to San Francisco, but you can always play Harper.
Okay, Taylor, first base.
Yeah, Josh Bell, in your Marlins stack is fine enough. I think he's hitting third if that lineup came out. Donovan Solano, kind of a decent punt on the other side of that game, 2-6 on DraftKings, first and third eligible. Jake Berger, another Marlin you can play at first base. I love the Olsen call. I love the Walker call. Harper as well. Like the Phillies are facing an opener and then Spencer Howard, who has been awful in the major leagues over the years. Obviously the park's bad, but it's the Phillies. I think they can do damage regardless. And, Vinny P and Sal Perez worth a shout if you're stacking Kansas City.
Okay, second.
Second base. Andres Jimenez is super pricey, but it's Coors. He has stolen base upside too. So a couple ways he can get there, hitting second in the Cleveland lineup. Gleyber Torres, kind of buried in 7-hole for the Yankees, but the price has come down recently. Ozzy Albies is down to 5th for Atlanta, but we like them today against Irvin. Garrett Hampson is a punt you can consider if you're stacking Kansas City, second base, outfield eligible on DK. Nicky Lopez if you want to go against Gausman, but don't love that. Davis Schneider should be somewhat popular again, leading off for Toronto against Woodford we've talked about. And Ketel Marte, of course, Marcus Semien, if you're stacking those two teams, pricey, but great in stacks. Ditto for Altuve. Don't think anyone's playing him tonight. Yeah, Schneider and Jimenez might be the chalky ones, but it's decent enough chalk, I think.
Any interest in Hampson? Devin in the chat says Hampson is cheap at second. If he gets on, he's running.
Yeah, I mentioned him. He's fine just because he's cheap. Not a great hitter, but like you said, speed upside, so it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Ice, is it your turn for second?
Yep. I do like the chalky guys as well, so I'm fine leaning into that. Davis Schneider has been one of the Blue Jays' best hitter. Andres Jimenez is in Coors Field, so no issues with the ownership on those two guys. I love the price tag for Gleyber Torres. He's been a little bit rough this season, been heating up a little bit here recently, as has a lot of the guys in the Yankees lineup. So no issues with Torres. Kiner Falefa is another Blue Jay. He's buried in the lineup, but he's cheap enough. I think you can take some shots there. Luis Rengifo has been really solid against lefties. Nestor Cortez is an above-average pitcher, but I don't mind some of these Angels bats against him. I don't like the stack necessarily, but some one-offs there to get away from ownership is certainly fine.
Okay. How about third?
Jose Ramirez is probably the top option on the entire slate, outside of that guy for the Yankees, maybe. But he looks fantastic in Coors Field. Ryan McMahon on the other side of the Coors Field game is one of my favorite hitters for tournaments. Absolutely love this spot for him against Tristan McKenzie, trying to pick on those fly balls. Kiner Falefa has third base eligibility as well. Eugenio Suarez is a cheaper option that you can play chasing a home run against Eovaldi. Gabriel Arias cracked the Guardians lineup. He's way down in the 9-hole, but he's cheap enough and he's in Coors. Also, don't mind Dylan Moore. Has been hitting near the top of the Mariners offense, and you get a little bit of leverage against Hunter Brown there.
Okay. Your thoughts, Taylor, at third?
Yeah, all those sound good. Austin Riley back for Atlanta, like we talked about. He's been rough, but he's also been hurt. So if he's healthy now, maybe he can not be rough. Michael Garcia leading off for Kansas City looks solid. Jake Berger, I mentioned at first. You can also play him at third. Josh Smith, lefties against Fott kind of a thing. I don't think we have that lineup yet for some reason, but if he's in it, looks pretty good at third for 3,800. Renifo, I like that call. Cole Tucker also in the Angels lineup hitting 8th, but he's 2,500, third base, outfield, fine in a stack. And, I don't love the Cubs, but Morel always has the home run potential and leverage against Peralta in theory.
All right, shortstop.
Shortstop. Here's where all the goodness is. Bobby Witt. Slate breaking option shouldn't be that popular. It might be the most popular Royal, but that's not really saying a lot on this slate. Corey Seager from the left side against Fott. Just talked about Josh Smith. Same applies to him. Volpe obviously leading off for the Yankees. Bo Bichette hitting in the middle of the Toronto lineup is cheap enough now. Ezekiel Tovar, the other side of Coors, typically goes overlooked. I would expect that to happen again tonight against McKenzie. And Zach Neto for the Angels, 7th, but cheap, and don't mind them against Cortez.
Ice, your thoughts at short?
Yeah, love Bobby Witt. Just elite stuff from this guy this season. Same goes for Corey Seager. He's a little bit cheaper. Fott definitely has more issues with lefties, so really like both of those calls. Bo Bichette is starting to heat up. He is too cheap in a great matchup. Ezekiel Tovar, I have a ton of interest in as well in Coors. Volpe in a Yankee stack should hit leadoff again here. Let's see. JP Crawford's really cheap. Get just some leverage against Hunter Brown. If you're looking for Mariners, love the Neto call as well. Cheap Angel, who's hit lefties really well this season.
Okay, bring us to the outfield.
Yeah, tons of awesome options here. As always, Aaron Judge is among the best on the entire slate, regardless of position. Corbin Carroll is too cheap for his talent level, assuming that he's healthy. He is starting to get more base hits here of late. The power has still not come around, but you have to think eventually he's going to get back to the elite hitter that he was last season. Michael Harris grabbed the leadoff spot for the Braves today. Absolutely love him as an option. Juan Soto as a spend up is certainly fantastic. Alex Verdugo is another Yankee that I have a good amount of. Charlie Blackmon, one of those Rockies that I really like. Jared Kelenic at the bottom of the Braves order looks really good. Tyler Freeman is in Coors Field. Let's see if there's anybody else standing out here. George Springer's still really cheap. He homered finally yesterday, so certainly don't mind him in a J stack.
Very good. Taylor, bring us to the outfield. We'll close it out and we'll get some home run picks.
Yeah, so I mentioned Jordan and Kyle Tucker earlier. Both look good against Castillo from the left side if you're hunting home runs. Marcelo Zuna, obviously a standout in your Brave stack. Nelson Velasquez and Hunter Renfroe are cheap Royals that, both offer power potential. I think they look good. Back to Miami again with Jazz and Jesus Sanchez. Jazz being the pricier of the two, but Sanchez, assuming he's hitting 4th, has shown some power from the left side over the years. And Jock Peterson, again, if you want to hunt for a home run against Evaldi, I think that's decent tonight. And Taylor Ward, another decent right-handed power bat for the Angels against Nestor Cortez. Yeah, I think that pretty much does it. The Yankees, the Braves are obvious. The Freeman leading off for Cleveland, solid enough. And then your Toronto bats. But a lot to like in the outfield, as always.
Okay. Just got a delay in the White Sox game, which was somewhat expected. Radar just doesn't look that bad, honestly. I'm not even sure it's going to be raining at first pitch, but still, if it's raining leading up to first pitch, you got to pull the tarp, you got to warm up, you got to do all that. So at this point, my feeling is that it would be a pretty brief late start. The game is 50 minutes away still, right? If it were to be played on time, I think it's probably only going to rain there for another, let me look at this radar loop real quick and do the math. 45 minutes, maybe even less. And then there's nothing immediately following that. So I think we have a decent window here. What sucks is that we're still an hour away. So maybe something new pops, or maybe there's something I'm not seeing, but I'm optimistic. I'll say that. I would stick with pitchers, and I wouldn't really have many qualms about doing it either. So that's my current update on Chicago. Is I think you stick with whatever you were going to do in Chicago. I will urge everyone to circle back again before the game to see if anything's changed. But right now, I think it looks pretty good.
And pushing back the start time, there's still no risk of in-game, or very little risk of in-game delay.
Yeah, I would say there's not any risk of like an immediate in-game delay, right? Radar is fully clear. Behind this batch of rain, it's going to rain for 30 or 40 more minutes. And behind that, there's like nothing that I see, at least not for now. Maybe something tries to form, but I think it looks pretty good. And I don't think that it's going to be a long late start either. So if I thought it was going to be a long late start, I'd be more concerned about how that's going to impact things later. But this might be a 10 or 15 minute late start. So I don't think it really changes a whole lot, honestly, other than giving them time to warm up. So that's where I'm at in Chicago. Please do check back. I will provide another update. But in the meantime, the people want the bombs, Ice. They want some Eysters, Fleisters. What do you got for them, man?
All right. I will go super obvious right off the bat. Give me Aaron Judge. Dude's been on fire. This is an elite spot for him. Love this matchup for him as well. In the mid-tier, Ryan McMahon's not going to get enough ownership today. I love the matchup for him as well. And then cheaper, give me Gleyber Torres, also another Yankee.
Very good. Taylor, you got some picks for me?
Sure do. I'll say Corey Seager at the high end against Fott. Let's see what else. Jazz Chisholm, I say, will tag Waldron in this game. And then Logan O'Hoppe, kind of a cheaper random dong for the Angels.
Okay. Very good. We want to take some QQs. I should do a little promo read while we're at it. Make sure you hit us with the thumbs up. It's free content. You get two of the sharpest minds in the biz and a meteorologist, all for the price of none, which is a pretty good deal. So hit that thumbs up for us. Also, make sure you sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. We got all kinds of sports happening. And whatever pay level, whatever tier you want to get in on, we've got an option for you. You can get a 6-month combo subscription, exclusive price, $469.99. That is a savings of $250 as opposed to doing it individually month by month. First month of RG Premium is $40 off for a limited time, which is great. And if you just want a test run, you know the price. 3 days for $19.99. That's nothing. $19.99. That's a trip to McDonald's. Check the link in the description for more info. That's it. That's what we got. Let's see what we've got here question-wise. And this is a good one that we should have mentioned earlier. Chris says, I'm so torn on pitching in FanDuel. I can't spend up too much having Yankee stacks. Do I go Castillo or Peralta and then get like cheap guys? Where would you go cash on FanDuel? Or just in general, maybe tournaments as well. Taylor, you can lead us off.
Yeah, I think the cheap guy you play is Brown. He's 7-4 over there. And like we've said, Seattle just has a ton of strikeouts in the lineup. He's better than he's shown in theory this season. Peralta, I think, is the play over Gaussman. If you're paying up, Peralta's a little bit cheaper, projects a little better, and there's no weather risk. So I think you just play Peralta if you have all the money to spend. Yeah, probably those two we'll be looking at in cash tonight.
Okay, great. We'll see what else you got. I'm trying to crank a tweet out. I've got 800 people asking me for an update. I'm going to start in the RG Discord because that is where the cool kids hang out. Let's see what we got. DK, GPP, Ice, Tovar, or Diaz in a Colorado stack?
Tovar for me.
DK Cash, we'll go right back to you here, Ice. Seager or Austin Riley, and take your time and really analyze it while some people tweet.
All right. So I think both are fantastic options. I think Riley, just recently coming off of an injury, pushes me to Seager. I mentioned that Fott has a lot more difficulty with the lefties as well. So I would go Seager in a cash game. Is that enough time for you?
That was really good stalling. Thank you. I appreciate it. D-Rock, another question from our guy. D-Rock says, Taylor, DK large field GPP, Bell or Berger as a one-off?
That is tough. I think I would lean Bell, but I will have plenty of both on this slate. Okay. Sadly.
Taylor, DK Cash question. Thank you. Yeah, I got the tweet out, guys. I appreciate that. DK Cash, Taylor, if you've got the salary for one spend left, are you banging the gavel with the Judge or going J-Ram?
I still feel like I would go Judge. Ramirez is phenomenal too. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but I would go Judge.
Okay. BZ says, does the new White Sox pitcher change y'all's outlook on Toronto? Did something happen?
Yeah, Clevenger was scheduled to start today. He got put on the injured list, and now we have Jake Woodford making his first MLB start of the season. So it's still a fantastic matchup. I think like Woodford has not struck anyone out in his entire career. So there's going to be a ton of contact made. I think Clevenger gives up a little bit more power. So maybe you could argue it limits their upside, not limits their upside, but hinders their upside a little bit. I mean, they're still a fantastic matchup either way.
Okay, good to know. Chinatown says he watched an Arizona game and the home announcers pronounced, the PFAADT as FOD, rhyming with odd or God. But I think I still prefer PFAT. So I'm going to stick with PFAT just for what it's worth, but it is good to know how it is properly pronounced. FanDuel single entry question, Taylor, got the Yanks main stack to be different. Do you like Reagan's KC Mini or Waldron Houston Mini?
I prefer Reagan's KC Mini. I think that's...
And I read that backwards. He said, I have the Yankees main stack, which is chalky. So he's saying, so to be different, do you like Reagan's KC Mini or Waldron Houston Mini?
Yeah, Reagan's KC. I think there's more upside there tonight.
And we'll see you at the top. That's like my favorite build of the day.
Nice. I like it. Okay. JT Money says, I've got $250 lineups going tonight. So I'm going for 2 questions. We're going to allow it, JT. I appreciate the honesty there. First off, your favorite 2 pitchers on FanDuel Ice and your favorite value one-off bats at 2,700 and under. Thanks, boys, and good luck tonight. So your favorite 2 pitchers on FanDuel Ice and your favorite one-off bat at 2,700 or under.
Favorite 2 pitchers, Cole Reagans. I just don't think there's enough ownership there today. I think he has as much upside as anyone on the slate. He deserves to be priced up with those bigger names. He is that level of pitcher. I've been saying it for almost a year now. And going down a little bit, I think Max Fried is a little bit too cheap on FanDuel as well. I think there's a great chance for a quality start. So even though he's not the biggest strikeout pitcher, I like his upside still as well. And for the value bat, it was 2,700.
Yes, it was.
Let's see here. I will go Jared Kelnick. Getting a little bit down in the order, but like the matchup against Irvin.
Okay. Someone said they're not seeing my tweet. Did it not go through? Oh. Did I do all that and the tweet didn't go through?
Oh, no.
Tell me you're in drafts. Okay. Do either of you have can either of you see the chat? Is that possible? And just knock out a few questions real quick.
I think I can pull it up. Let's see. It's live stream chat.
Yeah. The comments, is that possible?
Or yeah, I have the YouTube comments too.
Okay, if you could just grab a couple of those. I don't know why it's not showing up, and just give me like 2 minutes. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where we left off.
Just start picking them. Just start picking them. You're good.
All right.
There's no organization here.
Gaussman or Fried on DK, Taylor?
I think Gaussman will be a lot more popular, so I would lean Fried. I think they're both outstanding today.
I also think they're both outstanding, and I also have a slight preference for Fried. So we are in alignment there. Let's see here. Weather question. We did favorite starters on FanDuel. Eric Johnson says Texas is the top stack of the slate. I think we like the lefties there. I wouldn't say they're the top stack of the slate, though. Let's see here. I think maybe I didn't scroll up far enough. That's about all I'm seeing now. So pop some more questions in there, guys. Do we do Schneider Murphy or Harris Austin Wells? DK Cash.
Schneider Murphy or Harris Wells? I think it's Schneider Murphy probably.
All right. Lots of comments about the weather here. We've got all kinds of time, so no worries. Plenty of time before we get to lock.
There's a question
DK,
in the... Sorry,
go ahead.
You want to go ahead? Oh, okay.
Yeah, DK single entry, Waldron or Brown? I think that's an important question today for sure.
Yeah. There's another question in the Discord chat that says, is Waldron and Brown in single entry too chalky to release the hounds? I would take Brown over Waldron. I think Keith might go the other way, which is a sign. I think there's not really a correct answer to that. I don't think Waldron and Brown is too chalky. I'm hoping it's not, at least, because I am doing something like that. So yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. I'm not concerned about the ownership on it, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about ownership. I think you're just hoping that one of the 10K guys or even Gaussman Fried just don't go off for a massive game that you kind of have to have. Assuming that none of those top guys post a ceiling game, then I'd be totally fine with paying down twice at pitcher.
Okay, I'm back. I appreciate that. I don't know what's going on with Twitter there, but Dean says we got the Philly lineup in: Schwartz, Realmuto, Harper, Casti, Stott, Sosa, Marsh, Clemens, Rojas. Anything there that is alarming or different?
I don't think so.
Seems about right.
Pretty standard.
Very good.
Yep.
Okay. Jerry Berg says FanDuel cash question ice. Thank you for covering for me, by the way. Bichette, Carroll, or Michael Harris and Volpe?
Cash, you said?
It was, yes. Bichette, Carroll, or Harris and Volpe?
I'd go Harris Volpe for cash.
Okay. What else do we got? Pulling up the RG Discord here. Did we get Crazy Coop's question? DK single entry is a Walden Brown pitcher pairing and release the hounds too chalky.
We did do that one. It is not too chalky. I don't
Got
think.
excited for that. Okay. DK cash 4,100 or less. I have Brown pitching. Oh, shortstop. Taylor, shortstop at 4,100 or less on DK cash.
I was going to say Dylan Moore, but we just got the lineup and he is not in it. So I would say probably Gabriel Arias, even though he's hitting 9th for Cleveland. It is Coors still. Or JP Crawford leading off for Seattle is also fine.
Okay, very good. We'll go to Devin's question. Ice, this one's for you. Is Wheeler getting enough ownership to justify a cheap San Francisco mini stack on DK single entry?
No, I don't think that's the route you want to go today. Just tough ballpark for hitting against an elite pitcher. Like there's a lot better spots for offense.
Yeah. And he's not even like the chalkiest pitcher, right?
Correct.
It's not like so the leverage is not worth, the juice is not worth the squeeze, my friend. More QQs coming in. Chinatown says Wheeler is going to flirt with the MLB strikeout record tonight. FYI. What is the strikeout record? Is it 21?
20.
20? Yeah. Oh, that's a bold call, man. We're going to mark that down, Chinatown. If you get that right, we're impressed. I think
there are three other pitchers on the slate I would take to hit it before him in this spot.
We will see. If he gets like 16 or more, I will say you're correct. We'll call that flirting with the record. 16
That's
or more.
fair. Yep.
All right, let's see. FanDuel single entry, Taylor, Witt or Tucker in the util?
I think Witt is a safer play. So I'd probably lean him. I do love Tucker, though. As I've said, the Astros lefties look pretty interesting.
Okay. Chris Brown pointing out that Abreu's back and he's cheap. This dude, he was horrible. And then he went down to the minors, but did he even play in the minors? Like, was he just taking vacation for a month?
I think he played. I don't think he played very well.
Let me see what he did. I'm pulling it up right now.
Like, I saw no justification that he should be back. I'll tell you that.
And they brought him up to face Seattle, who's like the best pitching staff in the whole league. So they're setting him up for a lot of success here.
He only played in 2 games.
That's what I thought.
He did not have. He was over 8 in 2 games. So.
He was over. The guy was horrible. He took a month off. He had 2 minor league starts where he played terrible, and now he's back.
That was AAA. He actually did play in the complex league, the rookie league as well. But I mean, that's like against like recent draftees, like 18 and 19-year-old kids.
Right.
Like,
and he probably didn't do well.
He did do well in rookie league,
okay.
But that's not saying much. Like he should do well in rookie league.
Yeah.
Probably not as well as he should have.
Oof, boy. Anyways, he is cheap. He's back and he's cheap. All of that is true. FanDuel GPP Taylor, 3v3 for you. Volpe, Stanton, Harris, or Crawford, Kelenic, Soto?
Both sound good. I think the first one with Volpe is a little better. I'd prefer him to Crawford, and I think that's the tiebreaker for me.
Okay. What else do we have here? Anthony says, Taylor, your favorite bats in an angel stack?
I mentioned O'Hoppe as a home run call. I'll go with him. Taylor Ward from the right side. Neto, kind of a cheap shortstop that I like. And Keith mentioned Rengifo being a nice option as well.
Very good. We'll go to Travis's question, which is Adam Duvall on FanDuel Ice, third consecutive dong tonight. Who is it that went like 6 or 7 in a row last week? It was somebody that
Devers, I think.
Yeah,
Devers
that's
did,
right.
yep.
Maybe he's starting a Devers streak. What do you think? Third in a row for Duvall?
I prefer lefties against Irvin, and I prefer Duvall against lefties. So, I mean, it's not impossible, but I think it ends at 2.
Okay. All right. We'll go to Yup, That's Me. He says, Ice, welcome back, DJ LeMahieu in some Yankee stacks today.
Yeah, fine in a stack. I don't know if we officially got the lineup projected to hit way down the order, so it's stack only for me. But yeah, welcome back.
Great. We'll go to DeBoogie, who says, is J-Rod okay in a FanDuel GPP one-off? I feel like the answer to that is almost always yes, but Taylor, you can answer it.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, good players is one-offs. Nobody's going to say no in a tournament. You can do that. Michael says, I think Ice is a prospects guy. I think that may be true. Who's this Bliss fella at shortstop for Seattle? Any upside there?
Not a prospect, or I mean, he is a prospect, but he's not a top prospect by any means. I'm looking at him up right now. 16th in the Mariners system. The Mariners system overall is not anything special. Yeah, I mean, he's not a top prospect. There's some speed upside and maybe a little power too. He had 28 stolen bases in the minors before getting called up, so definitely some speed upside there, but not
Okay.
Doesn't look like the best hitting prospect.
Okay, great. Let's go to Devin Bates' question. We have so many Devins in the chat. It's blowing my mind. It's not even our Devin who works with us. FanDuel Cash Ice util spot 2,500 and under. He already has Kellenich.
2,500 in under.
Jesus Sanchez.
Taylor and those Marlins, man. Yeah, I don't mind the call at all. Taylor, Sanchez is good. Hampson is way down in the order. Luke Raley, maybe for some leverage against Brown, but that was cash though.
It was a cash question. Yes.
Yeah, I think Sanchez is the cash answer for sure.
Okay, great. Don says, Taylor, how do you feel about Judge and Soto in a lineup? I feel like that's pretty good. I know Judge he's good at hitting the ball.
Yeah, they both are pretty good. So I 2 thumbs up for me on that. Yeah,
that's tough to argue with. Aaron says, I work with Bliss's dad at the Kia car plant in Georgia. He says, put the house on him. Bet the house on this kid. I love it. Okay. Aaron, we're doing it. We're riding with Bliss now because, let's see, Bliss tweeted this Dean coming with the goods. Bliss tweeted in 2014 that one day he would play in Seattle. And here it is, coming with the John Boy Media tweet. Okay, I like this kid. I'm a Bliss fan, plus great name. Let's see, Ice FanDuel. You think a way to beat Yankee stacks with Soto is leaving him out for Verdugo, Judge, and Stanton? So can you basically Yankee stack and leave out Soto for the ownership reasons?
Yeah, I think you just hope that he walks 2 or 3 times, and yeah, I'd be totally fine with that. Okay. Especially on FanDuel where you only get 4 of them. So, yeah, totally fine.
Okay. I'm going to look at the very latest. My forecast models update kind of at the top of the hour, and usually we're done with the show by then. But since we still have time to kill, let's see if there's anything new in Chicago. No, we're gravy train. We're gravy train in Chicago. This game's playing. It ain't delaying. It ain't postponing. We're as good can be. Dear God, please don't announce a postponement right now. do everything you were going to do. That game looks legitimately good to me. I was just looking at Radar, and I tweeted this. Radar looks great. I even said it at the top of the show. Radar isn't scary, but models were trying to pop stuff that didn't really make sense. And now models have backed off on that, which is in line with what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking with this setup. So now I feel a lot better about it. I like it. Alvin says, what team is Bliss on? I suppose Seattle, right? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah. What else do we have here? Any more questions? FanDuel Cash, Taylor. Wheeler with Seattle bats or Hunter Brown and Cleveland bats?
That was cash.
It was FanDuel Cash. A reminder, we don't stack in cash. We just play the best plays. We don't have to stack. But
yeah, but if you do want to stack, you probably want to stack Cleveland. So that's where I'd go.
Yeah. Is Hunter Brown the dude? I feel like we play him every 5 days, and we're just like, I know he sucked so far, but tonight's the night.
Yeah,
has that been all season,
like
essentially?
Yes. He's so cheap and he's supposed to be good, but he hasn't been good.
Just waiting. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so frustrating. Because you know the day that you're out on him, and I guess Ice, you're kind of out on him a little bit today. Like that's the day he's gonna throw 12 Ks and bury you. Hopefully not though. I like the fade. We'll go to Jerry's question, which is forcing J-Rim and Judge a must in FanDuel Cash? I'm playing Brown.
Probably if you're playing Brown, it should be easy to get to them. Yeah, so I would do that.
I think if you're playing Brown, it's because you want to jam Ramirez and Judge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say that Austin Riley at 3-1 on FanDuel is pretty cheap. So maybe Ramirez isn't a must, but there's a util spot, so you can afford them all if you want. So
okay. Don said, what 4 bars would you take? And I thought he wanted my favorite 4 rap verses or rap bars, but then he said I meant bats. So what 4 bats would you take? And I think this is Cubs bats. So Ice, your favorite 4 Cubs bats, not your favorite 4 rap lyrics, which would have been more entertaining.
I don't know why you want to play Cubs against Freddie Peralta, but I will humor you. I'd go Bellinger first. Morel is really cheap, and his StatCast stuff looks totally fine. He's been really unlucky, so Morel would be next. Ian Happ is coming off a 2-homer game recently. He's starting to heat up, so I'd go there. And I think Michael Busch is going to strike out too much. I prefer lefties, but I will go give me Tauchman leading off over Michael Busch.
Okay, great. What do we got? A few minutes here. My wife is texting, yo, why are you still on the show? It's just baseball, man. The hell if I know when these games, when this show ends or starts on any given day. What else do we got? Paul. Look, this is a great question. Thank you, Paul. We needed this. Fried chicken, baked chicken, or grilled chicken? The question again is fried chicken, baked chicken, or grilled chicken? We have to consider not just flavor, but health and taste, all modes, right? Taylor, you can go first. If you're getting chicken, which way are you going?
I mean, considering taste and health are completely different factors.
They are. This is why you got to balance it, right? This is salary and upside. You got to balance these things.
Yeah. So grilled, I guess, is the right answer if you're trying to be healthy. Fried is obviously the best, but can't have too much of it or you'll die.
I think grilled is the combination of healthier and still tasty, whereas baked, I don't know, I can do some decent baked chicken, but it's never amazing. Ice, I don't suppose you're going to blow me away with a take other than fried chicken is the tastiest.
No, that's the correct take.
Yeah, that's all right. We're all in agreement. There's very little debate about that. Anthony says Gaussman or Fried, and I'm telling you right now, we're riding with the Gauss train all night long. Right? Right? We are. Yeah.
We kind of gave the opposite advice, but they're both awesome plays. So it's
we did. I thought everyone was playing Gaussman. Isn't
well,
that the guy that
we had this question? I think someone had this question in a tournament, and Gaussman I think is going to be a lot more popular, and Fried is pretty much just as good for the same price, essentially. So
Yeah.
Okay.
For what it's worth, I'm overweight on both. I think they're both too cheap for who they are.
Yeah. Okay. MT Red Sox. By the way, we got 5 minutes until lock. Maybe I'll yell that louder for my wife. We got 5 minutes until lock. Okay. What do you guys think of Castillo as? Hang on. What do you think of Castillo as an SP2 with Reagans, or should I pay down for Waldron?
Personally, I'd go down. I just don't think Castillo has the upside against Houston. Very low strikeout team. The lowest, in fact.
Okay. Very good. Where are we at here? Roth, how can the streets get their hands on some RG merch? J Sam says willing to buy. I feel like we got to get you some free merch just for saying you're willing to buy it. I feel like that makes you a true diehard. We got to talk to Devin, like producer Devin is probably the guy that you got to schmooze to make that happen. What do we got? A couple more questions. Mr. Irrelevant says, Taylor, I'm using DeJong and Sheets as leverage against Gaussman. Is that silly? DK large field tournament. Is it silly?
I don't think it's silly in a large field, but it's not fun. I can tell you that.
Okay. Anger says Ben Brown, FanDuel GPP pitcher. That's not. He didn't mean that, did he? Is Ben Brown a dude?
Ben Brown is a dude. He's probably only going to throw 80 pitches, and I would say absolutely not on FanDuel because I don't think he's live for a quality start. DK as an SP2 is maybe, I would even say no on this slate to that question. Very talented guy, but very short leash too.
Okay. Jimmy Jam says, Roth, are they playing in Chicago? You're damn right they are. Bookmark it. Lock it in. It's not even going to be a long, late start. They're playing uninterrupted, and they're playing all night long. Let's see what else we got. Chris Brown says, J-Rod, Stanton, or Matt Olson ice on FanDuel. J-Rod, Stanton, or Olson on FanDuel.
I'll go Olson there of the three.
Okay. Where are we at? John just saying my tweets were working. I'm not going to get into it. I wasn't seeing it, but I believe you that they're finally showing up. Hey guys, guess what? We did the thing actually. We took all the questions. We got one more question that just came in and then we'll bounce. Taylor, is McKenzie getting rocked tonight or do I play Yankees?
Both can be true.
Both.
Maybe both will happen. Yeah.
Yeah. We're in favor of both here on the show. Excellent show, ladies and gentlemen. Good stuff as always. So for Taylor, for Ice, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.